Estamos ao vivo. Boa tarde a todos, conferencistas, palestrantes, equipe Labart e aos participantes que nos acompanham neste segundo dia do Sinergia, Ciência, Educação, Arte, via Google Meet com transmissão aberta no YouTube. Seguimos com a programação do segundo dia. Hoje, às 14 horas, nós teremos a conferência do professor Dr. Ganil Obo, da Nigéria. Às 15 horas, teremos a mesa redonda Brasil-Nigéria, com os pesquisadores, professor Dr. Isaac Adedara, professora doutora Blessing Ario Obafemi, professor Dr. Odunayo Michael Aguloye, professora doutora Babajid Oluwaseun Ajayi. Em seguida, nós teremos às 16h10, professora doutora Rajendra Sarieka, da Índia. Às 16h40, professora doutora Patrícia Bernardo, de Portugal. E às 17h10, professora doutora Maria Manuela Lopes. Lembrando ao público participante que se inscreveu que é imprescindível realizar o preenchimento do formulário de confirmação de presença fixado aqui no chat do YouTube. Passo a palavra à professora Maria Rosa.
Good afternoon. Welcome, Professor Obu. You have up to 60 minutes for your conference, and we kindly ask you to start your speech with your professional presentation. Feel free to start, please.
Thank you very much. Let me try to share my slide before I do the usual protocol. Okay, I'm coming. I hope you are seeing my slide.
We are not seeing
Hello?
yet.
Yeah, okay, that's good. It's actually evening in Nigeria. Presently it's about 6 p.m. and I know it's around 2. So I will say good afternoon.
The slide, sir.
We are not seeing this.
You're not seeing it?
No, sir.
I thought you had seen it. Oh, let me go and share it again. I thought you had seen it. Oh. What's happening here? I'm surprised. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening here? Let me share it again. Windows. And it's not picking it. What's happening? It's not picking it. I don't know. I'm coming. Okay.
Yes, we are seeing it now, sir.
Okay. But the only problem now is that it's not coming up the way I expect it to come up. I don't know. What's wrong with this slide? I have a problem with the sharing.
You have removed it again. It was showing before.
Are you seeing it?
Are
you seeing it?
No, it was showing before, but you've removed it now.
And I didn't remove it. So let me go back again then. Something's wrong with it. The sharing of this slide that is causing problem now. What's wrong? It's not coming up. Are you seeing it now?
No.
What's happening? I don't understand.
Prof, is it in PowerPoint presentation now mode?
Yes, that's why I'm surprised.
Yes, maybe you press the window icon, the keyboard, the window.
Yeah, I actually did it.
Then share.
Let me share again.
When you share, you see where the window is. So the one with full screen is the one you click on.
Yeah. Let's try it again.
Yes.
Are you seeing it?
Yes, we can see it now, sir.
Okay.
All right, sir.
But the only thing is now it's not responding to the button. That's the problem I have now. It's not responding to the button. Something must have been wrong.
Press the button.
Are you seeing
yes,
it?
It's coming up.
Yes, it's coming.
It's coming up now. Yes, we can see it.
Okay, it's better. Thank you. As I said, good afternoon in Brazil and good evening in Nigeria. I want to acknowledge Professor Maria Osa Shetinga and my boss there in Brazil, who happens to be my host, Professor JBT Rocha, and Professor Christina Noguera, and Gisi Zeni, and all other hosts. I want to thank you for granting me this opportunity to give this short lecture. Actually, my first time in Brazil was 2005, where I had my first postdoctoral training under Professor Rocha, and we did a lot of great research, and I think we had close to 10 publications from the work I did then. And ever since, we have been on contact, and I've sent a number of students to Brazil. And so let me now go on to what I'll be speaking on. Precisely, I'll be speaking on functional food. In fact, the title is Translating Functional Food Research to Sustainable Healthcare Delivery. Translating functional food research to sustainable healthcare delivery. Now, we know in the last 3-4 decades, science has made a lot of impact in the world of research. It has made a lot of impact. When it comes to medicine, in fact, science has changed the terrain in medical research, agriculture, renewable energy, and technology in general. Science has done a lot. In fact, as a matter of fact, science has changed the world. But in this our talk, I'll be talking on the situation of universities, mostly in the developing world and research. Truly, we have been doing a number of research in the developing world. We have been publishing also publications, but the fact remains that the impact on the world is so low. What really happens in most of our universities is that most of the research we do did not get to commercial state. As a matter of fact, most of the research we do is for publications and career development. When it comes to impact of research on industrial revolution, the impact is very low. That's why we'll be speaking on things on translational research. Though I will still speak more on that, because when we talk of translational research, we are talking of bench to bedside research that has a direct impact on mankind. Let's now talk, how does it go to functional food? And back to several years ago, Hippocrates said something, said, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. But in recent time, what we are saying now is let functional food be thy medicine. In essence, not every food that can be thy medicine, not every food. There are food with medicinal value. There are food that has additional health benefit apart from the usual thing we get from food, like the nutrient. But now there's this another dimension to food. So now let us define functional food. When you talk of functional food, there are various definitions for functional food. And let me now give the one I accept here. We said functional food is any food or food ingredient that may provide health benefit beyond the traditional nutrient it contains. Yes, you talk of protein, carbohydrate, your vitamins, your mineral, all those things, the fiber. But when you talk of functional food, there are additional benefits. And that's why we are celebrating it. Now, what qualifies a food to be functional? Can we just say any food is functional? No. Before a food can be regarded as a functional food, that food, not capsule, not tablet, not a powder, it must be a food derived from naturally occurring ingredients. That's the first requirement. It must be naturally. Then, number two, what qualifies a food to be functional? The food should be consumed as part of our daily diet. So it should be a regular food. Then number three, what qualifies a food to be a functional food? That food must regulate a particular body process, such as it can improve the body defense mechanism. That is, that food can boost our immunity. Another thing, that boost can prevent diseases, or it can speed up recovery from specific disease. Another thing that qualifies a food to be a functional food, that food should be able to control our mental and physical condition. Then finally, it should be able to retard aging. Any food that has this quality will refer to those food as functional food. Please take note, that food should be able to boost your immunity. It should be able to help in your defense mechanism. It should be able to prevent disease. It should be able to help your cognition, and it should be able to retard aging. Food that has those qualities are referred to as functional food. I told you, they are not tablet, they are not capsule, and it should be part of our daily diet. Now, let me now give you the classification of functional food. The first classification is the class of probiotics, live microorganisms, some bacteria, some lactobacillus that can help in disease management. That is one class of functional food. I know our colleagues in microbiology, they are doing a lot trying to get one probiotic or the other to manage diseases like diarrhea and some other things. Then apart from probiotics, another group of food that are classified as functional, they are the conventional food. It could be whole grain, it could be whole cereal, whole legume, like your cowpea. It could be whole vegetable, like your, so it's whole food. Whole food can be classified as that has medicinal value, whole food that can boost immunity, whole food that can retard aging, whole food that can prevent diseases, whole food that can help to fight infection. They can be referred to as functional food. And the third category, which I'm actively working on in recent time, is what we call designers food. In case of designers food, in this case, we incorporate some nutraceuticals into some conventional food. We consciously formulate a food to fight certain diseases such as cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and osteoporosis. In this case, there's this conscious designing based on the information we have on that food, based on the information, using appropriate nutraceuticals, incorporating them in food to design food, and that class of food. And today, many of them are coming up in market, and we refer to that class as designers food. And we can have designers food as functional food. So you can see yogurt there. You can see this plant there. There you can see black seed. You can see various fruit and vegetables. And then now, going back to our topic, I said something earlier that I want to talk of. The topic has to do with translating functional food research to sustainable healthcare delivery. The truth is that we have many research discovery in the form of publication, in the form of dissertation, in the form of thesis, lying fallow on the shelf. And the information in those findings has not gotten to the people that really needs it. So what we are just doing that, yes, we have antimicrobial property of this, antioxidant property of this, anti-cancer property of this, anti-inflammatory, they are all there, all in the form of publication, all in the form of dissertation. But what we are saying now is that we should move beyond publications. We should move beyond just mere dissertation. Let us see how we can move our research findings from just mere paper publication to the woman that is sick in the hospital. That is just the concept of translational research. So that is, we are translating the knowledge gained from our laboratory science into clinical practice to improve health. So when we are now trying to convert all those our finding, antimicrobial, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, anti-proliferative, by the time we can now convert that knowledge to goods and services, by the time the knowledge gained from our publication can make an impact in the hospital, then what we are now doing is for translational research. So our focus is the integration of activities from bench to bedside. The bench in the laboratory. We have done a number of work in the laboratory. We have read a large number of papers from our laboratory. What we are saying is that let us convert the knowledge gained in our laboratory. Let us convert the knowledge from our laboratory, from the bench. Let us convert it to clinical practice. Let it go to the woman in the hospital. Let it go to the man in the hospital. That is the message we are trying to pass across. Translational research. As you can see from my chart, you have three phases. The first phase is bench. And sincerely, most of our research in many of the universities in the developing world is still at the level of bench. What we are saying is that we should move from our bench to bedside. Clinical trials. Develop them into the form that they can take in the hospital, which requires some other knowledge, because we realize that many of research, and we move from the bedside to the community. That's what we are preaching, from bench to bedside to the community. And that's how our research can make impact. That is the message we are passing across. What is the aim of translational research? Yes, one of the things is that it could be to develop therapeutics, like designers' food, to address certain pathology or the other. I know many of my listeners will have quite a lot of findings at the level of paper, at the level of graph, at the level of table. That is what we have at the level of diagram, in form of bar chart or pie chart. But what we are saying is that let us move those information from this level into product, into drug, into food. As the case may be, I'm talking of functional food, develop them into a food, like designer's food, that can be taken by the woman at the bedside. Apart from therapeutics, it could be medical devices. We can translate medical devices. It could be tools for diagnosis diseases, and it's also an avenue for community engagement. That is the aim of functional food. What are the objectives of translational research? Number one objective is to accelerate the moving of our findings from bench, that research, to bedside. That is the first major aim, and that is the main aim, that we want all those findings we are getting in our laboratories, we want them to go into the lab. That is our major dream. Then number two is to enhance collaboration between researchers in different phases of translation. Take, for instance, there is no way you would develop functional food for somebody that has cancer or someone that has diabetes or hypertension. You will need somebody from food science, you need somebody from nutrition and dietetics, you need the medical doctors, you need probably an oncologist for cancer, you may even need somebody, an endocrinologist for diabetes, you may need a cardiologist for hypertension. So you have to come together, work together to develop, to move the data you have gotten from your laboratory to the bedside. Then number three is to utilize personnel from different disciplines to focus on common goals. As I said earlier, people from different backgrounds, we have to come together to move our findings from the laboratory to the bedside in the hospital. And number four is to promote optimal outcome for all patients. Those are the main objectives of translational research. What are the various stages in translational research? I have 5 main stages, just like the stages in clinical trial, which is one of the major limitations we have with translational research. As I said earlier, many of us, yes, nobody is saying that we should not do basic research, but what we are advocating is that we should move beyond basic research. Many of us, our research is at the level of basic. This one we engender collaboration, which means that is what generally carried out in the lab, some in vitro techniques, that's what we do, testing some extras, some this. But what we are saying, that is the first step. The second stage is preclinical research, where we make use of some probably human cells, human tissue, or we use animal model. I know many of our laboratories, we are going to that level where we test all those things using cell line, using human cells, or tissue, or animal model. The third stage is the clinical research. Obviously, is really involving and it requires a lot of money. And at this level, we have to really have a strong collaboration with the clinicians. So for us to get the approval of our product to the market, though that may not be too difficult for functional food, because the food we are advocating, they are food that people are already eating. But we still expect that for you to get approval from the regulatory body to get this thing to the market, you need to carry out clinical trial. Then number 4 is clinical implementation, which is expressed that we assist in the adoption of the intervention and innovation. And in that case, there should be a lot of collaboration with the policy makers, with the administrators, and with the extension officer to help us to propagate this stuff. And finally is the public health. This one involves now examining the health outcome at the population level. You have developed this thing. What is the impact of this thing you have developed in the population? Then these are some advantages of translational research. I don't want to dwell much on this slide. I will just go from there to our activity. As I told you, in our lab, our emphasis and our specialty is functional food and plasticals. And over the years, we have developed quite a number of products. We have medicinal drink, diverse medicinal drinks. We have anti-diabetic bread, cookies, and all those on. We we have medicinal biscuits, we have pasta, and we have essential oil. As I said earlier, over the years, we're close to more than a decade now, we have developed a lot of functional food. Some of them are already in the market, and some are in the process of entering the market. Now, this is one of our products already. We have a patent for this one. It's a special noodles for diabetic patients. I know we have a patent for this. And these noodles that they can have as their breakfast meal, because you know one of the major problems with diabetic patients is their choice of meal. So we have to develop, based on our previous publication, based on our previous findings, we have to develop a functional noodles with antioxidant properties, with anti-diabetic properties, with accepted sensory quality, and we have been able to establish some of the mechanism through which these noodles work. Apart from this, there's another product we have developed which we call functional ice cream. It's a special ice cream with low glycemic index. It reduces weight. It reverses elevated brain cholinergic enzyme. It has apocholesterolic property. It has an anti-diabetic properties. It's a special ice cream specially designed, fortified with some nutraceuticals for diabetic patients. We have a patent for this as well. Then we have developed various series that diabetic patients can have as breakfast, especially for diabetic patients. Apart from that, this is one of our recent findings, and we just got a patent for this. As you know, malaria is very common in Africa, and Nigeria is one of the leading countries where you have malaria infection. So what we have come to do is to develop a bread, a short bread that you can eat to prevent and to treat malaria. Already we have a patent for that short bread we developed, and we have been able to discover that this bread can treat malaria. In fact, and that we observe it that it's an immune booster. So this is one product we developed from some nutraceuticals for the management, for the treatment of malaria. Then apart from this, this is one special one. Let me go back to this. This is a special fertilizer we developed because we have come to realize that most of the soil in Nigeria has low selenium. And in order to combat this problem of selenium, we developed a special organic selenium fertilizer that you can apply to your garden, and before you know, the plant will accumulate some of the selenium, and it will convert the inorganic to selenium to organic selenium. And this we have done, and we have used to grow a number of vegetables, and the fertilizer did very well. Then apart from that, we have from that work, we were able to grow some vegetables, and with that vegetable, we were able to develop a special cookies for HIV patients. And this we have tested on HIV patients. The cookies lowers their viral load, and it boosts their immunity, and the cookies has anti-inflammatory property, it has anti-cancer property. As a matter of fact, we call that cookies growing cookies. It's a special cookies we develop for HIV. Now, this is our polyherbal tea. It has anti-diabetic property, it has anti-diabetic property. In fact, already it's well developed, well packaged, and already, though it's yet to get to the market, but it's one of our tea that we have developed in our lab, well formulated polyherbal tea. Now, we got the patent of this one very recently, our bitter leaf flavored alcohol-free wheat beer. This beer is specially developed for diabetic patients. We have done the clinical trial. We have done the laboratory trial. And though some company, they are in the process of taking over the production of this beer. And as a follow-up to this, we have also developed a beer for malaria. We have developed a beer for malaria, alcohol-free beer that can be used for malaria. Like this one that we call non-alcoholic beer. It has low glycemic index, it reduces weight, it upregulates insulin and glucogen. It has hypochloremic property, it has antioxidant property, and it has anti-diabetic property. Already we have the patent for this beer. All we have done is to move the information generated from our publication to development of goods. And one of the products is this. Then there's this one I developed. Again, this is a special lotion for diabetic foot ulcer. You and I know that most people that with diabetic foot ulcer, what they normally do is that amputation. So what we have done over the years is to see if we can develop lotion and tea that can be used to treat diabetic foot ulcer, and that's one work very well because we have to. The other lotion that I have by the side, there's another lotion because I have two lotion. That one is to treat skin disease and it works perfectly well. Then there's this one, though it may not interest you. It's a local condiment in Nigeria. We call it ogiri. We have developed it into some things that is very acceptable. There's this other one also. It's a local condiment in Nigeria. We call it Iru cube. We have developed it into a cube and it's ready to get to the market. There's this other one. We developed a special product for women with menstrual cramp. It's a special tea we developed for them from ginger. Then there's this other one. I think I must especially acknowledge the Brazil collaboration because this work started in Brazil. My students went there with ginger and turmeric. They did some work. Based on the findings from those work, I think precisely the student worked with Professor Maria Osa. She worked in I'm talking of Acompanhe. He worked with him then during his PhD work. Based on the findings, we were able to develop a special bread, which we call functional ginger bread, functional turmeric bread. Not just any bread, they are functional. They are special bread that has medicinal value. Then these are some other products we have developed in our lab. There's some other products. So now, what are the challenges facing translational medical research? Number one, inadequate funding. That's a major problem. Research are not properly funded. Then you have embezzlement and other corrupt practices, both from researcher and government. Some will collect grants, they won't execute the job. Then sometimes some government agencies, they are also horrible. Then some university administration, they are also horrible, where the grant will get to them, they may not release those grants. Then high cost of equipment, not only high cost of buying equipment and even maintaining equipment. Sometimes we get grant to buy equipment, there's no provision for the maintenance. Then we have some policies in an institution that are unfavorable. Then the human factors, there's a problem of lack of interest and motivation. We see many young guys abandon the job. It's a serious problem in Nigeria. People are just abandoning the job, running abroad. It's becoming so. There's this problem of lack of interest and motivation. There's also the issue of inadequate mentoring. Then lack of local and international exposure and collaboration. Now, recommendation. The first one, there should be an improvement of funding for translational medical research. It's not just any research. They are research with direct impact and it's cost intensive. Then, dedicated research institution for functional food research. Then, mentorship It's a serious issue now. There's this gap. International exposure, implementing favorable policies and practice, and regulating training and regular training and retraining of personnel. Let me now conclude. I will conclude by reading what I have on the screen. I say, as more and more research we carry out in our respective laboratories, let us bear in mind that it is incomplete until that information can be translated to a product that would make life better for everyone. This has been the cruise of our work in functional foods and nutraceuticals. These are my team members. I have a large team, though many of them they have left the country. They have left the country, and thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Obu, for your excellent lecture and for the important issues you presented here for us today. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now we are going to follow with the presentations with the next roundtable. And I will say welcome to Isaac, Blessing, Odunayo, and Babajide. You have up to 60 minutes to make your presentations. We kindly ask you to start your speech with professional presentations, and feel free to start, please.
Thank you, Prof, and all the listeners online. I'm going to start my own presentation, then others will follow as indicated in the program. Thank you. Can we see, please?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Welcome once again. I'm here to present since the program is all about synergy, science, education, and art event, the involvement of University of Ibadan in the research collaboration that have taken place for almost 20 years now. So University of Ibadan, with other universities in Nigeria, have collaborated productively with UFSM, and I will be presenting today the involvement of University of Ibadan in the cooperation. Sorry, it's not responding. Okay. Please, is it responding?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. So the first slide talks about the different programs, supervisors, and the names of people that have come from Nigeria to have one program or the other and research activities performed in UFSM. And first, like we have seen, Professor Ganiyu Obo was the first postdoctoral fellow to come to UFSM, and that was between 2004 to 2005, about 20 years ago. Subsequently, he has sent some of his students who are now professors in university in Nigeria. We have Professor Igekale, we have Professor Mary Olaleye, we have other universities like Ekiti State University, we have Professor Folake Oyetayo, we have Komolafe Kayode from FUTA, and all the supervisors, we can see them there. I, as the first person to come to UFSM from University of Ibadan, is on the ninth position, Professor Amos Abolaji, as a postdoctoral fellow between 2013 and 2014, supervised by Professor Rocha, after which I came, and we have Dr. Ayodele Akinyemin, Afe Babalola, but supervised by Professor Obo in FUTA. We have Professor Blessing, Afe Babalola too. We have Olawande, Olagoke, Adifega. We have Olabi from FUTA. We have so many of them through one program, CAPES PrInt, CP, towards CMPQ program has brought all of us. And currently, we have in total, based on record, we have about 28 different programs and different supervisors. I want to go first to the involvement of University of Ibadan, but I want to appreciate the first and like a father who has helped in the development, in the collaboration between UFSM and Nigerian University. We cannot but appreciate or talk about Professor Obo Ganiyu, who was there and supervised by Professor Joe Batista. And based on the research that he has presented extensively on translational research, his collaboration with Brazilian government using Brazilian vegetable resulted in one of the notable publications, hot pepper, terpene, and capsaicin Chinese in the prevention of iron-induced peroxidation, which was published in Food Chemistry with impact factor of 8.5 currently. So we are grateful to him for showing us and leading us even to research collaboration with UFSM. And according to the program, my presentation, in the University of Ibadan, the involvement of University of Ibadan actually started with Professor Amos Abolaji, who was there in 2013, but the award was in 2012, and with Professor Rocha. And the research project was involvement of oxidative stress in 4-phenyl cyclohexene induced toxicity in Drosophila melanogaster. And I am proud to say that Professor Abolaji has actually done well in extending and the research using Drosophila model in Nigeria. It actually took Drosophila melanogaster to Nigeria, and today we have a lot of laboratories that have started working using Drosophila. During his training with Professor Rocha, he was able to publish some papers, and these are two of them. The one published in free radicals and in redox biology with impact factor of 7.1 and 10.7 respectively. And today we have Drosophila laboratory in University of Ibadan based on the technology that was transferred from UFSM to Nigeria. And like I said, most universities in Nigeria today that are using Drosophila actually obtained this training with Professor Abolaji, and got some of the flies that they are now using in their respective universities. I would like to talk about the involvement of this young man, Dr. Kayode Komolafe, who was with Professor Rocha. I want to talk about how he has been the one to link me. Is a link, the connector between Professor Rocha and myself. When he finished his sandwich program with Professor Rocha in 2013 and returned to Nigeria, he was the one that informed me and was able to link me up with Professor Rocha. So during his training here, he worked with so many plant extracts, but he was able to produce 2 publications which were published in Biomedical Research International and Earth Science Report. Now, having connected me with Professor Rocha, I came to UFSM in 2014, but my fellowship was towards MPQ 2013. And my initial project that I brought to University of Santa Maria was to actually work using Drosophila. But unfortunately, after performing my first preliminary research using Drosophila, and I wanted to do molecular studies, I was informed by my mentor and my host, Professor Rocha, that due to funding, there are no some reagents for molecular study. But he introduced me to the new model, which is the cockroach, the barata, so to say in Portuguese, cockroach Nofeta cinerea. And he told me, Isaac, I think you can do some experiment with Nofeta cinerea. And gladly, I was able to move my research from Drosophila to Nofeta cinerea. Even though some master students have been working with Drosophila, with Nofeta cinerea before I came to the lab, but little was done and there was no publication at that time. But when I came, I was able to publish the first work that I did using Drosophila in a Journal of Trace Elements in Medicine and Biology, impact factor of 3.6. And before moving to the Nofeta cinerea experiment. And I specifically want to appreciate Professor Denny Rosebeck, who was able to collaborate with me in the Nofeta cinerea, especially in the use of video tracking software, specifically to enhance my work, my research with Nofeta cinerea, since it was, at that time, it was the first time of using Nofeta cinerea. So in collaboration with Professor Dennis, we were able to publish the work in toxicology research, and then the second one in pesticide biochemistry and physiology, impact factor of 4.2. So to date, research in Nofeta cinerea model has gained attention since 2013. In 2013, Professor Rocha published a paper with his friend, J.L. Franco, which has to be the first paper using Nofeta cinerea, and subsequently the laboratory of Professor Rocha has published a lot of publication. So, and to date, we have 2 PhD theses that have been completed with Professor Rocha being the supervisor, and there is one that is ongoing. And we have about 27 publications now since 2014, about 10 years ago. And I want to tell, these are the 2 PhD students, the 2 people that have their PhD in using Nofeta cinerea as a model. The first is Professor Blessing Afolabi, who work extensively on Nufeta Sinergia, and after which we have Olawande Olagoke, who also had his own PhD thesis on Nufeta Sinergia. The two of them graduated from University of Ibadan. After the completion of their MSc, they were able to secure the award to come for training. And I'm glad that they did excellently. I am glad because they improved on, when I did my work on my project on Nufeta Sinergia, there was no molecular studies done. But these two people, they were able to do extensively using molecular markers, gene expression to accomplish their goal in their PhD research. Today, I want to present the work of Olagoke. There are 3 publications there. One published in Molecular and Cell Biochemistry, impact factor of 3.5, Comparative Biochemistry and Physiology Part B, impact factor of 1.9, and then Chemical Biological Interaction, impact factor of 4.7. So we can see that they made use of, this is unique in the sense that it was injection. When I started my preliminary studies, it was just diet. But this, Dr. Olagoke was able to inject and induce metabolic changes using streptozotocin, which is an advancement in the preliminary work that I did. And Professor Blessing Afolabi too was able to advance the work that I started using methylmercury and monosodium glutamate and involving molecular study, gene expression, which are published in Environmental Toxicology and Pharmacology, impact factor of 4.2, and Chemical Biological Interaction 4.7. So after my postdoctoral training, I returned to Nigeria, and through the help of Dr. Afolabi, who I sent here, was able to give me the link for Joven Talento, which I was able to secure. And my host, my friend, Professor Dennis, was my host. And my original project that I brought to UFSM under the CAPES PrInt program is the phenotypic and biochemical characterization of depression and nociception in zebrafish. So after performing my first experiment, I told him, because of some of the space in the laboratory, the students are too busy with other projects. So I informed him, because I told him that as a toxicologist, I would like to use zebrafish as a model. And I'm glad that he gave me the permission to use it. So I was able to do another project which has to do with investigation of the environmental pollution with perfluorooctanoic acid, trying to look at effect on aquatic organisms, specifically using zebrafish as a model. And at the end of my program, Joven Talento, sponsored by CAPES PrInt, I was able to publish the first paper on visceral pain, which has to do with using a acid sensing ion blocker, channel blocker, to prevent the visceral pain in zebrafish. Was published in Behavioral Brain Research, impact factor of 2.6 currently. And during the program, we wrote a review, which was published in Neuroscience and about Behavioral Review, impact factor of 7.4. And the work on ecotoxicology, ecotoxicity of perfluorooctanoic acid, which in collaboration with Professor Maria Osa and other colleagues, was published in ecotoxicology and environmental safety, impact factor of 6.2. And After returning to Nigeria, and there are other 2 students that came from University of Ibadan, specifically Folorunsho Bright Omage and my sister Adeola Oluwatosin Adedara, who came for master's program, for PhD program, and they were both supervised by Bright was supervised by Professor Roshan, while Adeola was supervised by Professor Nilda Barbosa. And I'm glad to say that they did well. The first publication of Bright Omage was published in Journal of Chemical Information and Modeling, impact factor of 5.6. And then Adeola published 2 papers in neurotoxicology, 2 of them in neurotoxicology, impact factor of 3.4. Yes, regarding translational research to University of Ibadan, in collaboration, I informed us earlier that Professor Abolaji returned to Nigeria with Drosophila melanogaster. When I returned to Nigeria, with Nofeta cinerea, and to continue my research with collaboration with Professor Rocha. And today, I want to tell her that we have done a lot of work, and 2 papers are shown here on using Drosophila using Nofeta cinerea as a model to evaluate environmental contaminant of pharmaceuticals, because due to disposal of pharmaceutical in the environment and abuse, we have contaminated anthropogenic activities of human have led to contamination of the environment, which has resulted in toxicity in non-target organisms. And so one of the papers was published in Environmental Pollution, impact factor of 7, and Chemosphere in impact factor of 8. And to date, in University of Ibadan, I have supervised 7 students on master degree using Nofeta cinerea as a model. And some of the papers are published in Environmental Science and Pollution Research 5.8, Environmental Toxicology and Pharmacology, and Environmental Toxicology, impact factor of 4.4. And in collaboration with professors in UFSM, we have written a review in published in Environmental Advances, and a book chapter on Nofeta cinerea, published in Advances in Neurotoxicology. So over the years, the research collaboration between UFSM and UI is on the increase. And in 2022, I secured the position as a foreign visiting professor in UFSM, specifically in Department of Food Science and Technology in Center for Rural Sciences. And my research has in the use of bioactive compounds. The first review article written in collaboration with Professor Tatiana, with Professor Anna Flavia Furian, and other collaborator in the USA, Professor Michael Ashnan, and other people. We are able to, we are published in Environmental Research, impact factor of 7.7, and a PhD student, Professor Tatiana, who I assisted in, or who I'm still assisting to supervise, were able to write a review, a mini review on the olive pomace, and were published in in a journal of the Food of Science of Food and Agriculture, impact factor of 3.3. And currently, Professor Blessing is now married. No more Afolabi, is now Obafemi. He has changed his name. This is the name. He's now here as Joven Talento, and Professor Babajide. These also have contributed significantly, and in my collaboration with them, we resulted in publication of paper on oxytocin A, in toxicology, impact factor of 4.8, and a book chapter on zebrafish with my friend, Professor Dennis Rosenberg, Michael Ashner in neurotoxicology, and in collaboration with Professor Babajide Ajayi. Currently, we have 3 students that are doing their PhD. All of them graduated from University of Ibadan, and they have been supervised by Khadija Mohammed, supervised by Professor Dennis Rosenberg, Adeshina Babalola, that is currently being supervised by Professor Felix Sores, and Stanley Owawuba, that is being supervised by Professor Russia now. They are working on different models, working using zebrafish, using C. elegans and Nofeta cinerea. And this has also, I know that it's going to contribute to the relationship and the collaboration in research between University of Ibadan and Nigeria. I want to specifically appreciate this, my collaborator during my stay here. I still have other collaborators who are in one way or the other collaborated with me in publication. Professor Dennis were able to write a review, and like I told you, we've published that one, and then a research work that was done by Julia Cassian, a PhD student, where I also collaborated with, was published in Progress in Neuropharmacology and Biological Psychiatry in 5.3, and the review that I wrote recently. So these are some of the work that we have published, and my latest paper, collaboration with other researchers in CCNE and Center for Rural Science, waterborne adrenal, destroy neurobehavioral and biochemical responses in adult zebrafish, was published in Environmental Science and Pollution Research, impact factor of 5.8. So, so far, our research collaboration with Nigeria, UFSM with Nigeria, have resulted in considering FUTA, which has to be #1 for 20 years now. FUTA has been leading university in Nigeria that have contributed, and publication of about 143 to the development, into the research collaboration. University of Ibadan, in the last 10 years that we started, we have been able to contribute 59 rather. So I want to appreciate Professor Daniela for his assistance, most especially for all the students, PhD students, postdoctoral students, Joven Talento, and even the academic staff that have come from Nigeria to UFSM, particularly to Department of Biochemistry. He has been so instrumental to their securing visa. Some of the time, most of the time, I disturb her. Prof, please, can you help me? I need visa. I need document for visa processing. Professor Daniela has helped a lot. And I want to thank Professor Maria Osa, the coordinator. She has been very good and supportive in our collaboration in University of Ibadan and in general, Nigeria in general. I have a recommendation. Just the recommendation that I have is that it will be very good if the collaboration between UFSM and Nigeria for people that have fellowship, it can purchase a return ticket for them, because most of the time it's very difficult considering the situation. But I believe that it will strengthen and the collaboration if we are able to purchase the return ticket for the awardees. Now, I want to thank the Federal University of Santa Maria, CMPQ, CAPES, PrInt, I want to thank the Center for Rural Science, the PPGC, where I am now, Biochemistry Department. I want to thank University of Ibadan and College of Medicine, and TWOS, the World Academy of Science, for their support for my research in UFSM. Thank you. Muito obrigado. Thank you.
Now we can follow with Blessing presentation. Welcome, Blessing.
Good afternoon, Prof. I'm trying to. Good afternoon, Prof. Good afternoon, everyone. Boa tarde a todos. Trying to open my slide. I'm not able to.
Have you put it in PowerPoint presentation mode?
Yes, it's in PowerPoint presentation.
Yes. Look at the button for the window. Press the
I've already clicked the button for window.
Yes, what of Google? The Google at the base of your computer, of the. Do you see the Google icon? The Google icon.
Yes.
Click on it. Click on the Google icon. No?
It's not showing. Okay, I'll go back to the slide.
How to congratulate? The screen?
Yeah, but
is it not showing the panel where you see Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, or whatever you have in your system?
yes, I've clicked it.
You click on it. So
Yeah.
So click on the share now. The share where you see the.
Is where you were.
You can't?
But PowerPoint is not appearing here.
No. Okay, let me. I'm so sorry. Let me send it to myself. Let me send it to myself. I'm sorry.
You can't?
No, I can't. I can't see it.
What is the problem? Is it when you click?
Yes, I clicked the
Google.
I've opened the PowerPoint. I've clicked the four windows, but I can't see the Google.
No, the window icon.
Yes.
And the Google is not showing. just on that. It's not going to show in the old. It's
not showing.
Do you have a PDF file?
PDF. I have it in PowerPoint. Prof, maybe somebody else should start presenting.
Okay, maybe another person should present.
Can we begin then with Odunayo? Can you talk, Odunayo? Are you here?
Are you trying?
Yes, I'm here, Prof. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Could you try to share your presentation?
Okay, let me try.
Then Blessing, in the following time you try again.
Presentation.
I believe now Blessing is trying to make her presentation. Perhaps, Odunayo, could you begin your presentation and after Blessing could try again? Odunayo, are you here?
I'm here. I'm trying to share the
presentation.
PowerPoint.
Okay.
It's on the what's it called?
It's not working, Odunayo. Perhaps Babajit could try to begin his presentation.
Okay, good afternoon, Prof.
Good afternoon, Babajit.
I don't know, can you see my screen now? Okay.
Yes, it's not in full screen, but we are seeing your presentation.
Okay. Is it now in full screen?
No, not yet.
Can you see it now, ma?
Not in full screen.
Okay.
Hello, maybe you have to put it in full screen first and then share it.
Okay.
Okay. It is okay now. Thank you, Patricia.
Okay, is it moving? I don't know. Is it moving
Yes,
now?
it is in full screen now, Babajidi. It's okay.
Is it moving? Is it changing?
Yes, it's moving.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. The coordinator for CAPES. Good afternoon, all professors present. I would like to appreciate the organizers for giving me the opportunity to present at this meeting. I would also like to appreciate and welcome Professor Obo. Professor Obo was my external examiner when I did my PhD defense at the University of Ibadan. Today I'll be presenting about my university and my activities so far as a Joven Talento Fellow. So actually my university it will be the first time that someone will be coming from my university to participate in a CAPES Fellowship. So I'd just like to talk about my academic activities and my research path in Nigeria. I'm a faculty at Chemical Sciences at Jaikwada University. It's a private university in Nigeria. And what we do is that we teach biochemistry and toxicology to undergraduate and postgraduate students. We also do research in toxicology and cancer research. And that's one of the areas that I major in: neurotoxicology, multi-organ toxicology, cancer research, and chemoprevention with natural products. I'm also involved in community service. I work with other scientific organizations to award grants, train undergraduates, and so on, both in Nigeria and also abroad. So my connection with USFM. So it's like more of a mentee, mentor-mentee, then mentor-mentee again. So I call it the mentorship chain. So I got connected to USFM through my mentor during my PhD, during my pre-doctoral days at the University of Ibadan. I did my PhD from the University of Ibadan. I was supervised by Professor Farombi, Professor Iyo Farombi, and also Professor Adedara. So I got involved with USFM through Professor Adedara. Sorry, there's a mistake here. There's a graphical error. So Professor Adedara came to USFM, and he had his postdoc training with Professor Rocha. So when he came back to Nigeria, when he returned to Nigeria, we're also in the lab. Then we're doing our PhD, and we got involved. He started training us. We got involved in different studies that led to some publications. For example, we had the one on 6G Gerard I was working on then, and we did some collaborations, and we published these articles. Like over 5 articles. I just have 3 here to show. So that's how I got involved with USFM, and also Professor Rocha. So my journey to Brazil. So I applied for the Joven Talento. Of course, through Professor Isaac Adidara, we got connected with Professor Nilda, who is my present supervisor and my host now. So I got the award, and I came to Brazil to investigate the role of manganese in the development of Parkinson's disease and possible ameliorative mechanisms in zebrafish. So we decided to use zebrafish because it's genetically and physiologically similar to humans, and it's a good model for motor function and cognitive impairment. So we'll be using zebrafish, developed so many models, and these are the skills and knowledge I've gained so far. This is going to be my first time of working with zebrafish, because previously I've been working with rats, mice, and also clinical research with humans. But I've always had it in mind that, I want to work with alternative models to study toxicology and toxicological screening. And so this is going to be my first time. So since I've been in Brazil, I've been able to understand the zebrafish husbandry and how to use it for experimental studies, the behavioral studies. Also been able to develop a model for the blood-brain barrier using manganese. We use manganese to disrupt the blood-brain barrier, and been able to see the effect of manganese on blood-brain barrier. Also, I've been able to do some imaging analysis because I've been able to use the vibratome. We have a vibratome. I've used the vibratome. I've used the microscopes, the confocal microscope, and also the fluorescent microscope. We've been able to develop we've been able to create a protocol for studying the images, the alteration in the images of the zebrafish brain. So, and also I've been able to use the Ouroboros machine to study the respiration, to look at the effect of manganese on respiration in zebrafish brain. So we've been able to see that manganese affected the the electron transport chain and oxidative phosphorylation in zebrafish brain. So we'll also be able to develop histology. We've been able to bring out the brain of the zebrafish, although it's a very small, but we'll be able to bring it out and be able to do the histological analysis. We've been able to focus on the cerebellum we've been able to get the sagittal section of the brain, and be able to look at, we've been able to see the Purkinje cells. We're able to see how manganese affected the Purkinje cells and the histological architecture of the zebrafish brain generally. So by coming to Brazil, I've been able to get a good training with the help of the CAPES fellowship. I've been able to get a good training about how to develop and execute neurotoxicological studies in zebrafish. So when I came to Brazil, I also had the opportunity to work with other scientists, and also Professor Adedara. I've been able to publish just a review on how zebrafish can be used to understand the molecular mechanism of neurotoxicity. Also, coming to Brazil via CAPES fellowship, I had the opportunities to also do some online training and workshops on zebrafish, because this is going to be the model that we'll be using now. And my plan is to see how I can also take the zebrafish to Nigeria. We've heard about Professor Adedara's presentation, how he was able to start the cockroach research in Nigeria. Professor Abolaji was able to start that in Nigeria. And also with my training, with the training I have now, I can also start it in Nigeria. And this is going to be the first in Africa. Generally, if we can have the facility, it's going to be a great collaboration, and it's also going to improve science research, both clinical and basic clinical research in Nigeria. So I've been able to attend some trainings and workshops online. I've been able to, about zebrafish on husbandry, about how we can also use zebrafish for toxicological research and for other developmental studies. And I was able to join the Society for Brazil Society for Fish Reproduction. Now, the benefit of this fellowship, this will allow a joint research project. That is, there will be collaboration. By the time I get back to Nigeria, there's going to be a continuous collaboration with UFSM and Ajayi Crowther University, because this is going to, I'm the first person to come from our university. Although I got in contact with UFSM through my mentor, Professor Isaac Adedara, that worked with Professor Rocha, and I'm happy now because as I'm working in Professor Nida's lab, I also go to Professor Rocha's lab. I work together in both Professor Nida's lab and Professor Rocha's lab. Sometimes I will need some chemicals, some reagents. I'll go to the lab, and the lab has been so easily accessible to me. So there will be continuous research project collaboration, We're also looking at the possibility of an exchange program. That is our postgraduate students and also our faculty. We can see from University of Ibadan and also from the Federal University of Technology, Akure. Some of their faculty have been coming. They've been coming to Brazil. They got back, and this has led to a lot of publications, a lot of scientific production. So we also plan that. I also hope and I believe that this is also going to happen from our institution, and we are going to have some of our students coming to Brazil, UFSM, and also some of our faculty will also come to promote knowledge sharing and capacity building. Also, our university, Accredited University, will be able to gain access to advanced research techniques and expertise from University UFSM to strengthen academic networks and foster global partnership. I would like to acknowledge the CAPES for awarding me this fellowship. It's a great opportunity for me, and I would like to say that this is my first postdoc since I've defended my PhD. I'm very, very happy, and I'm grateful to CAPES for this. I also like to appreciate the Universidade Federal de Santa Maria for accepting me through my supervisor. I also like to thank my university. I would like to appreciate my university, Accredited University in Nigeria. They actually they gave me a leave to come here without any issue, and immediately I informed them of that. Okay, I've been awarded. They said they were very happy because this is going to be one of their first international collaboration. So they were very, very happy to release me to come for this program. I'd like to really appreciate my supervisor. I've been learning a lot in our lab, Professor Nida Barbosa. Thank you very much for being my host. I would like to appreciate my mentor, Professor Isaac Adedara. I got to know about UFSM, everything about CAPES, Brazil, coming to Brazil. I got to know everything about it through him. I would like to appreciate Professor Joan JBT Rocha. I've been going to his lab. His lab is very accessible, because when I came, I've been trying to optimize a lot of models, some things that you just have to optimize about zebrafish imaging, some of the analysis. So his lab has been very, very helpful to me. I would like to appreciate Professor Maria Osa, the CAPES coordinator. Thank you very much, Ma, because when I was coming, she was very instrumental. And also Professor Daniela, I would like to thank them for accepting us for this fellowship through CAPES. I also like to thank my lab members. This is NIDA's lab. I'd like to thank everybody, the postdocs, the PhD students, and everybody. It's been great working with them. So overall, I've learned so much from this fellowship. It's an opportunity. I've gained a lot of things. I've access to data. I've gained skills and most of these skills is what I'm going to take to Nigeria. And my plan and my belief is that we can also start this research in Nigeria, because what I'm working on, it's Parkinson's disease, and we have the incident is high both in Brazil and also in Nigeria. And the compound I'm working on with is manganese, and we have manganese toxicity both in Brazil and also in Nigeria, because some foods, some of our foods are still fortified with manganese, and we still have exposure to manganese in both countries. So there's going to be a lot of future collaboration that will still come from this study. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present at this meeting.
Thank you, Babajide. Blessing, please feel free to try again, if possible, to share your presentation.
Okay, Prof.
So, where is it? No, where is it? No, PowerPoint mode. Google. Share. Window. This. No, we'll continue. Full. Okay, full. Yeah, share. So go to your the full. Full to share.
It's okay now. It's okay. Yeah. It's nice.
Okay. You want to wind it?
Good afternoon, Prof. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you see my slide?
We were seeing your slide now. We are not seeing.
Okay, I think.
You put in window.
Yes, I think it's because somebody else is.
We are seeing now, but not in full screen.
Now, yes.
It's in full screen.
But not full screen.
Full screen.
You have to put in your presentation directly in the PT. Now probably it's good.
As Patricia said, first, perhaps you have to let in full presentation and then share. Now it's okay.
Is it full screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good afternoon, Prof. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Professor Oba. I would stand on existing protocols. So my name is Blessing Ariobafemi, and I will be presenting on synergy between science, education, and art. So first, briefly, I will talk about my academic journey. My undergraduate studies started at Bowen University, Iwo, in Osun State, Nigeria, where I obtained my Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry. Then I proceeded to the University of Ibadan in Nigeria to obtain Masters in Biotechnology, Biochemistry as well. And then I got an opportunity to do my PhD program here in Brazil. Professor Adedara actually is the link between I and Professor Diogo Onofre Gomes de Souza, who is my supervisor, and Professor João Batista Teixeira da Rocha, who is my co-supervisor. So I have the opportunity of being a student of two universities, which is Universidade Federal de Rio Grande do Sul and Universidade Federal de Santa Maria. And since then, Professor João Batista and I and Professor Isaac Adedara has been working together in terms of publications and research. So CAPES PrInt, which is the acronym for Coordenação de Aperfeiçoamento de Pessoal de Nível Superior, Projeto Internacionalização, was inaugurated in 2017, and it is an initiative of the Brazilian Federal Ministry of Education, which aims to use interdisciplinary research to promote internalization of Brazilian higher education institutions, promote graduate programs and research areas. The objectives of CAPES PrInt includes implementation of strategic plans for internalization of institutions, encouragement of research networks, just like I was able to get a network between Professor Adedara, Professor João Batista, and Professor Diogo Onofre Gomes de Souza, promote actions to support internalization of postgraduate studies, and also promote the mobility of faculty, staff, lecturers, and students to Brazil and from Brazil to other countries, just as the beneficiaries of the CAPES PrInt program are here from Nigeria to Brazil. The beneficiaries have been able to get new experiences and culture from the CAPES PrInt program. They have the opportunity of research collaboration, which also breeds increase in the publication of either project articles, research articles, and also writing of book chapters. The beneficiaries have the benefit of expanding their research network. The beneficiaries of the CAPES PrInt also have been able to acquire new skills and techniques and also foster interpersonal relationships between the host of various scientific laboratories here at UFSM, and then the host institution are also benefit from CAPES PrInt. And here the impact of CAPES PrInt would be to both the host institutions and the home institutions. There is an increased international outlook, which is as a result of collaborations. Also improved ranking, both the host institution and our home institution have a higher ranking either in a world ranking or Times Higher Education. There is improved efficiency, there is increased exchange of ideas, which breeds better research. There is also opportunity for joint application of grants between both the host institution and then the home institution, and then increased internalization of research groups. What is the benefit of CAPES PrInt to UFSM? UFSM has specific thematic areas. The CAPES PrInt program has been able to align these thematic areas to certain sustainable development goals, which is very important and key to human development and to the world at large. Some of the sustainable development goals that CAPES PrInt has been able to facilitate includes information and technology, sustainability, collaboration, quality project, and then One Health. Just as the subtitle of the project of CAPES PrInt says, the pharmacological and nutritional strategies for the promotion of health. So CAPES PrInt has been able to facilitate some of the thematic areas here at UFSM. The challenges of CAPES PrInt program. The main challenge here is the language. A lot of the beneficiaries have difficulty in communication with some of the students and the staff just based on language difference. And synergy between science, education, and art. Science is a branch, is a field that involves new knowledge, discoveries, and innovation, and then generation of this using critical thinking, which helps to solve pivotal problems such as climate change in the world, public health crises, societal needs, and also helps to improve technology. Education can also be described as a field or a process of imparting knowledge, developing the power of reasoning and judgment. There is no science without education, and there is no education without science. Also, education is a means through which science, its concepts and outputs are communicated as a way of promoting scientific literacy. Art, what about art? Art is also a field. It is the application of human creativity and imagination via several means, visual, just as we have during this 3-day conference program, we've been able to learn via the PowerPoint presentation, which is visual. Other forms include performing, painting, sculpture, and literature. And literature as seen in the manuscripts, the articles, the journals, the book chapters that are being published. So actually there is a huge synergy between science, education, and art. The synergy between science, education, and art is critical to meeting several sustainable development goals, which aligns to the objectives of the CAPES PrInt and the UFSM thematic areas. This means that science, education, and arts are so important in boosting the general human advancement. And all these are possible, all these have been feasible via the CAPES PrInt program, either the Jovin Talento or PDE or the visiting professorship. Also, the combined output of science, education, and art, these 3 areas, is greater than their individual output. This further explains that the scientific discoveries and outputs are often communicated via education, and then with art via design. This improves clarity and understanding as seen in our textbooks, in our PowerPoint presentations, and in conferences. My personal experience, CAPES PrInt Jovin Talent, which is young talent. I've had the ability, this is a one-year program starting from last year to November last year, 2023 to October 2024. I've had the opportunity to work and collaborate not just with my host, Professor João Batista, but also with other researchers, with other scientists in other laboratories here at UFSM, Universidade Federal de Santa Maria. I've been able to acquire new skills, new techniques, including the high resolution respiratory, which measures the effect of your compound, of one's compound on the complexes of the electron transport chain. I've been able to learn a new model of research, which is Drosophila melanogaster, a very important model, an alternative model. Although I have worked with cockroach, but with Drosophila melanogaster, it's quite different because of the size, and also acquiring new skills in the breeding, the husbandry, the mating research. I've also been able to participate in the writing of a book chapter. I've also participated in the writing of review articles. I've also had the opportunity to learn techniques, mating studies using the Drosophila melanogaster, and then also been able to collaborate with even other scientists that don't use insect models for their research. CAPES PrInt at UFSM and Labart. What is the take home of my experience here at UFSM back to Labart? In Labart now, there is a new faculty member with international exposure, which can also be categorized as a postdoctoral exposure. This would help improve both UFSM and Afebabala University Adeokiti. It will improve the ranking, improve the individual profile, which is the beneficiary, myself. Also, it has helped to improve dissemination of research outputs from my experiments here, which would be seen in published articles, in book chapters, and in this presentation, which is going on presently. This would also foster future collaborations with researchers at UFSM. At least there will be continuation in the research, in the skills and techniques that I've learned here using the Drosophila melanogaster. Also, other faculty and students of the Afebabala University of Adeokiti would have the opportunity to collaborate with researchers here at UFSM. This slide shows the beneficiaries of the CAPES PrInt program. They are all professors. The beneficiaries are all Nigerians. They are all professors, and they all have PhDs. Professor Stephen Adeni Adefega, who worked with Professor Maria Rosa Chitolina Sketchinga, Professor Ayodeji, who worked with Professor Daniela Bichinkol Rosa, Professor Isaac Adeboyega, who worked with Professor Dennis Brook Rosenberg. Other beneficiaries, which are still present here, are Professor Odunayo, who's presently with Professor Daniela Bichinkot, Professor Leo, Professor Babajide, who is presently working with Professor Nilda Vargas da Barbosa, and Blessing, the presenter, who is presently with Professor João Batista Teixeira da Rocha. In conclusion, I would like to appreciate the Brazilian government for this opportunity, then Professor Maria Rosa Chitolina Sketchinga and the team, who is also the coordinator of the CAPES PrInt program, Professor Nara Cristina Santos and the team, the Pro-Hitora and the representative Professor Tatiana Emanuele, Professor Cristina Wayne Nogueira, Professor Daniela, who is also our coordinator here at PPJB Talks. She's been very helpful with settling in our registrations and all. Thank you all for listening. Muito obrigada pela atenção.
Thank you, Blessing. Now, Odunayo, feel free to start your presentation. Hi, Odunayo.
Eu acredito que o Dunaio desconectou agora, Rosa.
Oh, it's not online.
Não.
Let's going to see. I'm going to see if. Quem sabe nós seguimos no intervalo ou aguardamos um pouco?
Acho que a gente pode aguardar uns 2 minutos.
Tá.
Porque recém agora ainda estava na chamada que caiu no momento que foi receber a chamada.
Sim, aguardamos então.
Isso. Rosa, a professora Dunay já está de volta.
Hi, Odunayo. Feel free to start your presentation, please.
I'm here. I want to connect.
Yes.
Okay, now we go to the PowerPoint.
Okay.
See? No, just go to PowerPoint. They see. They are seeing this now.
Okay. Are you seeing my slide now?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
They are not seeing.
Stay here. Ask now.
What about now?
We are seeing, but it's not we are not seeing anymore. It's not in full screen. Please first put the presentation in full screen and after share it.
Okay, in full screen. What about now, Prof?
Now it's okay.
Okay.
Feel free to start then.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Professor Marusa, Professor G. Ubo, my supervisor, and every other professor on the panel. My name is Agundoye Odun, University of Technology, Akure, and I have my first degree. I am a first degree at the Adekunle Ajasin University, Akungba Akoko, 2007. My second and third degree at the Federal University of Technology, Akure, and I was privileged to be supervised by Professor Gani Yuhuba. And I want to talk about UFSM/FUTA collaboration, the success of scientific bridge built by CAPES and CMPQ. The Federal University of Technology Akure, also known as FUTA, is a government-owned university based in Akure, Ondo State, Nigeria. And it has one college of medicine and about 9 schools. And I come from the School of Life Sciences, Biochemistry Department. Also, the Federal University of Santa Maria, UFSM, is also a Brazilian university funded by government. And it has about 9 centers, and I happen to work at the Center of Earth Sciences. Now, the scientific collaboration between UFSM and FUTA started in year 2004, in which Professor Gani Yuhuba was awarded a postgraduate fellowship and was being hosted by Professor JBT Osha. And during the year postgraduate fellowship, he was able to do some landmark research, and as he earlier said, that a year postgraduate fellowship produced about 10 publications in high impact journal. Followed by, and these are some of the pictures from the Professor Ubo's inaugural. As you can see, Professor Marosa was there, Professor JBT Osha was there, and also Professor Adidara also graced the occasion. And these are some of the selected papers from our research when he first visited Brazil. The second to come from the Department of Biochemistry FUTA is Professor M.T. Olaleye. She also was being hosted by Professor JBT Osha, and today she is a professor in the Department of Biochemistry FUTA, and she has over 100 articles in well-indexed journal. She worked on neuroprotective property of some selected Nigerian plants, and she also had a good outing with being pointed out by the number of publications he was able to publish with Professor JBT Osha. These are some of the selected publications. The third is Professor Kade, I.J. Kade. He had his PhD being supervised under the tutelage of Professor JBT Osha, and today he is a professor at the Department of Biochemistry FUTA. The duo of Dr. Eleko Fayinti and Salim did sandwich part of their PhD program at the UFSM, and which leads to the award of their respective PhD. And both are associate professor as at today, awaiting being confirmed a full professor. Dr. Kayode Komolafe also had a short stint of sandwich here at the UFSM, and the sandwich was being sponsored by TWAS in the year 2013. and it was being hosted by Professor JBT Osha. Ayodele Jacob Akiyemi also did part of his PhD with Professor Marosa, and also a postdoctoral fellowship here in Brazil, in which he also had a good successful outing with a number of publications he was able to publish with the various biochemical activities that he carried out in the lab. Followed by Dr. Ayodeji Olabi. Professor Obo supervised him, and during the supervision, he was also able to get support from TWAS to do part of his PhD work here in Brazil under the supervision of Professor Marosa. And also, he was also able to publish some of his findings in high impact factor journal. And after that, he came here as also a doctoral fellow, and currently he is now in the US. Dr. Adifega, also in year 2016, was being granted the opportunity to come to this great university as a postgraduate fellow under the supervision of Professor Daniela, and he has a good outing, and he published a lot of his work in high impact factor journal. This good outing earned him another opportunity to come back to Brazil for Juve Talento. I think that was 2018 or 19 thereabout. Now, these are some of the selected publications from that he was able to publish with the work that he did here. Also, in the year 2015-16 also, Dr. Professor Ademiluyi also was granted the opportunity to also work, to also come in as a postgraduate fellow, and he was being hosted by Professor JBT Osha, and also he has a good outing. Ogushi Yokoyemi came to Brazil, to be precise, UFSM twice, for his sandwich, which leads to his PhD, and also he also won a grant for his postdoctoral fellowship, and is being hosted by Professor JBT Osha, and they have a good number of publications in high impact factor journal. In the year 2023, I was offered the opportunity to do some research as a postgraduate fellowship scholar under the supervision of Professor Daniela. And my initial project was to work on modulation of nutrigenomics, how nutrients in the functional food modulate gene. But I changed the project to look into another area of research, which is cancer research. I work on the effect of vitamin D, istrathalin, and co-administration on tumor size and biochemical parameters in B16F10 melanoma exposed mice. And in this experiment, I have a lot of set objectives. Number one, I intend to look at the effect of this chemical on tumor size, tumor volume, and how are these two compounds, if being administered together, what is the effect on the tumor size and also on the tumor volume. And also, I also want to check the effect of this compound, the vitamin D, the istrathalin, and co-administration on some altered biochemical parameters in melanoma exposure rate. And at the end of the day, I was able to deduce that melanoma cell has the ability to cross the blood-brain barrier, which is one of the side effects. It affects some key enzymes in the brain, and we are able to look at all these enzymes, especially the synaptosome. We extract the synaptosome. We look at the activities of the preinergic enzyme. Also, we also check the tumor size and the tumor weight of the treated mice, and we discovered that the treatment prevents the spread of the tumor. And also, we were able to discover that this the treatment also ameliorates the rate at which the melanoma cell proliferates in the mice. Now, my personal experience during this a year stay in UFSM, I was able to learn a lot of scientific skill, methods that I'm sure that will impact my further study when I return back to my country, Nigeria. And this together, which I believe will really impact my future experiment, and will also aid me to be a better scientist, in which I seek to be. And now, in an overview, when we look at the collaboration between FUTA and UFSM, this collaboration has produced 143 articles in high impact factor journal. And also, I believe that more are still coming, because myself and with my host, we have at least 2 articles under review, in which we have more data to turn into publication. Appreciation. I would like to appreciate CAPES for the opportunity to come to Brazil for this short period, which is a year. And also I want to appreciate my host, Professor Daniela. I want to appreciate Professor Marosa and host of other lecturers here, researchers, that they really assist in one way or the other. I also want to appreciate my supervisor, Professor G. Ubo, for the impact and for training me to acquire the knowledge that I'm acquiring now. And also I want to appreciate my university, Federal University of Technology, Akure, for releasing me for this opportunity. If they didn't grant my application to travel, I won't be here. And also, I want to appreciate my fellow lab member in Labibo. I want to appreciate them for the assistance and for their support. They render during my short stay here in terms of lab work, animal taking care of me, and all this. They really support me. And finally, I want to appreciate my host, Professor Daniela. She is really a mother. She really assists me when I need, and she always asks me that, what did you need? I really appreciate you, man. And also, Professor Marosa, thank you very much, Prof. Thank you for listening. And I believe that this collaboration will continue year in, year out. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you, Odunayo. To finalize this roundtable, I want to say some words. Then I would like to greet all the fellow researchers from Nigeria that have been with us during all the CAPES PrInt project time. We went beyond research, cooperation, we established friendships. I thank you all for the partnership for almost 20 years. And I'm very happy today to listen all the results all the experience and the collaborations with UFSM in Nigeria. Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much.
Ok, posso seguir daqui, Rosa? Tá bom, então a gente agora vai dar continuidade. Havíamos previsto uns 10 minutos de intervalo às 16, mas em decorrência do tempo já vamos dar continuidade, então, para as palestras que seguem. Convidaremos agora, então, a professora Rajendran Sasireska. So now we continue with Professor Rajendran Sasireska. Welcome, Professor Rajendran. You have up to 30 minutes to your conference, Surface Engineered Amphora Subtropical Frustals using chitosan as a drug delivery platform for anti-cancer therapy. We kindly ask you to start your speech with your professional presentation. Welcome.
Very good evening, and all present here in the online session. And I would like to thank, first of all, Maria Jose to organizing this event and given me the wonderful chance to present my work over here. And also I would like to give my gratitude to my beloved professor, Dr. Bernardo, to given this opportunity to work with UFSM as a young talent in CAPES PrInt. I think I have to let into my presentation. Can you see my slides?
Yes, it's okay. It's full screen.
Okay. So this is my title I'm going to present here, Surface Engineered Amphora Subtropica. It is nothing but a species of diatom. The festivals using chitosan as a drug delivery platform for anti-cancer therapy. I just using an exoskeleton of the algae with the surface engineering with the polymer called chitosan, and the drug delivery platform. I'm using the exoskeleton as a drug delivery platform, and the drug I'm going to I have used in this experiment is doxorubicin. It's nothing but it's a drug for breast cancer, to cure the breast cancer. Let me enter into the topic. So this is the agenda I'm going to present here. It's just isolation, optimization, and characterization, and finally summary. So this is a brief introduction about the diatom. I told you, it's just an algae. It's also eukaryotic unicellular algae, and it's some of them will be in single cell, and most of them are in the flax, and together in the colonies to create some really pretty forms that will be used to create some jewels, and it is also called as jewels of sea. So in colonies there are many shape you can see, such as filaments, ribbons, zigzag shape, and fan shape are woven, or even in the shapes of stars you can see in these diatoms. It is covered with a hard silica material that is nothing but their cell wall of the diatom. It is also called as frustals, and it is naturally has 3D structure of silica material with arrayed pores with many perforation and intricates with that diatoms. It will be a wonderful boon for the drug carriers especially, and also it is applicable for several biomedical application when we are going for the application with the festivals. So you can see the numerous shapes and structures of diatom festivals over here, and this is scanning electron microscopic images, and this is some other kind of diatoms, and these round shaped diatoms is called as centric, and this vertical shaped diatom is called as pennate diatoms, and this is bilaterally symmetrical, and it is laterally symmetrical. So due to their high surface area, it has a tremendous biocompatibility, and that amorphous silica it has. So it is not crystalline, so it will not affect the organism what we are using for. And the festival will act as a microcapsules for loading therapeutics and drugs what we are using with this experiment. And the diatom silica is consist reactive selenol group on the surface, and it can be chemically modified in order to achieve functionalized surface with proper chemical groups such as amine, acid, and thiol, and aldehyde group. Also, we can use to modify the surface to conjugate with the drug material we are going to use with this experiment. And the cationic and anionic polymers possess significant potential in their area, are extensively investigated for numerous therapeutic applications. So we have chosen the cationic polymer chitosan to overcoat on the festivals, and then it will be used for drug loading therapies. So these are all some electron microscopic images of both centric and pennate diatoms you can see here, and collection of marine diatoms. And this is my site sample collection site in India. This is the part I am living right now in India, and this is my hometown. Here you can see where I have spotted here where I have collected my samples over there. And these are all the methods I have used to isolate the diatoms from the crude material what I have collected from the collection site. The serial dilution and agar-plate technique and micro manipulations are the most favorable isolation techniques I have used to isolate the diatoms. So identification of marine diatoms. After collection, I have just isolate the diatom by these methods I told, the agar plating method, macro manipulation method, and this is agar plating method, and this is green algae, and this is brown algae. It's mainly diatoms. These are the molecular identification I have gone through by DNA sequencing by Sanger method. So these are all the the protocol I have followed to identify by molecular techniques. And as I have less time, I just go in front. And it's a taxonomic identification, marine diatom under the microscope. And these are all the most purified diatom I have got from the sample collection sites. And this is amphora species and Nixia species and Diplonis species you can see here, and Pilaria. Most of them are pennate. I didn't collect any centric diatom because it is highly a large size than the pennate diatom. So I skipped that centric materials for the biomedical application what I have chosen. And this is the oligonucleotides I got from the genomic identification by the RBCL gene, and I have deposited this sequence in the NCBI GenBank, and then I got this. You can see the accession number KT007971. So by the deposition, I have found that the kingdom, phylum, class, and family and genus species of the diatom of my interest. Its genus is Amphora and the species is Amphora subtropica and the family of these Catanulaceae. So after getting accession number, I have gone through the BLAST, basic and local algorithmic searching tool, and I have performed BLAST to identify the most relevant species to the Amphora subtropica. So here you can see my species, and these are all the mostly related to the species I have here. And the this tree is constructed by the cluster W. Phylogenetic tree has been constructed by using the software called Mega 7. So optimization, it's nothing but the optimization, the favorable condition of the marine diatom we can use to do culture. So I have chosen 5 parameters. One is growth medium, and another one is temperature, and third one is pH, and the fourth one is light intensity, and finally salinity. I have chosen to grow my microalgae. So this is the results I have got from the optimization. First of all, for the growth condition, I have satisfied with the TMRL medium. It gives the highest growth at the exponential state at 15th day. So I have chosen the TMRL medium is a good medium, and I have standardized this growth medium for the further experiment with the pH. So the pH I have chosen, these are given here. Among these, the 8 is a optimized pH for the good growth given to my diatom. So I have fixed that 8 is a good pH, and then go with the next experiment with the growth media TMRL and pH 8. And salinity, the salinity is optimum salinity for this species is 30 PSU. So I have fixed with this PSU, and then go over to the next experiment with the temperature. So for the temperature, 23 is the optimal temperature for the experiment I have gone through. So 23, and other the TMRL medium pH 8 and PSU 30 is optimum for the datum growth. And finally the lax, obviously as it is a photosynthetic organism, the 300 lax will be a good light intensity to grow maximum diatoms. So I have fixed 3000 lax with it. So how can I extract the biosilica from the diatoms? Here you can see what are the procedures I have followed to extract the biosilica, and the characterization what I have done for the biosilica is the functional material. So we can see the graphical representation of acid digestion of festivals and characterization. And this is the live amphora. After collecting the live amphora from the exponential state, I have used PrInt solution. PrInt solution is nothing but the HCl, hydrofluoric acid and sulfuric acid, the mixing of hydrofluoric acid and sulfuric acid. And I just kept the chemicals for the overnight to digest the live amphora, the inorganic material in the amphora, and then it turns to the dark green color as it is acid cleaned, and then it will be further oxidized with the 30% of hydrogen peroxide to get purified festivals, you can see here. And then it will be go to the next characterization, FSM and EDS, TEM, confocal microscopy and isotherms. You can see to find out the surface area of the diatoms. So as I have explained earlier with the graphical representation, the protocol I have followed to digest the material in the amphora festivals, amphora live diatom. So how can I label the festivals with a fluorescent dye? FITC fluorescent isothiocyanate, 5 micromolar I have taken, added with 5 ml of ethanol, and then the APTES, nothing but the 3 aminopropyl triethoxysaline is a conjugating material to the FITC and silanol group on the festivals, and then the it is 1.47 micromolar to achieve final concentration. This is all about the dye preparation, and then it will be preserved in aluminum foil covered vial to avoid the contamination and photo bleaching from the lights. And it will be left over for 2 hours at 37 degrees Celsius for the complete mixing. And then it will be go for the further labeling with Amphora subtropica. It will be centrifuged with 453 gravity for 5 minutes. At each cycle, the pellet was consequently incubated with FITC APTS conjugate in a cycle for 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes, we have to wash the materials completely to clean the unbound materials. That means FITC from the fresh wells. So we can see the structural and functional properties of diatoms further. This is it's under the microscopy. It's a live diatom. It is acid clean diatom, and the zeta potential, the charge of festival have been calculated or identified by this DLS. So here with the pH, the neutral pH, we can determine it is minus 15.4 millivolt. It is nothing but this will be drawn by the silanol group on the surface of diatom. So as usual, the Vogels group given you the negative charge to the material. So here you can see here the FESM and EDS and XRD analysis for diatoms. It's a clean diatoms FESM. You can see the pure image here, and they're measured. The pores measured diatom is over here, and this is the powder form of the diatoms, and it is the individual image is about 15 nanometer plus or minus 2. You can see with various pore distribution and perforation with intricate layers you can see over here. And the EDS of diatom festivals, you can see here the silanol group is a maximum component will be present in the diatoms, and this is the XRD graph for the diatoms. It shows you completely the amorphous nature of the diatoms. You can see here. You couldn't see any crystalline nature to be in the XRD graph. So this is the 10 electron microscopic images and FITR spectra for the diatom festivals, and this is the individual diatoms. It's around 2 micron, and also the higher magnification of the unmodified diatom without it shows without any titration fabrication with this. So you can see the perforations of the different perforation of the diatom festival. You can see, and also you can see the silanol group and mostly SiO2 and amine group are widely present here in the FIR spectrum. So it is a confocal microscopy. This is FITC labeled diatom, and this is bright field, and it is merged with the both FITC and bright field. You can see mostly in the outer layer with the festivals. What it is having the silanol group only labeled by the FITC, you can see, and it in the isotomes you can see 4.3 nanometer is a cumulative distribution of Amphora subtropica, and N2 nitrogen absorption and desorption isotopes of Amphora subtropica with high surface area is calculated as 332 meter square per gram have been from the BET isotopes. So this is the protocol I have followed for the functionalization material. Firstly, I have screened the material, what will be the good material to overlap on the festivals. First, I have chosen gelatin. and APTS and chitosan. Among these, chitosan have good biocompatible, and also it will be attaching to the festivals covalent and gives the covalent binding to the festivals. So I have chosen chitosan. After that, the chitosan was applied to the festivals for overlapping on the diatom festivals by this protocol I have used so far. Here you can see the schematic representation, how it can be, the surface selenol group will be encased with the chitosan. Over here you can see the PrInt solution. After treatment with PrInt solution, the surface, the selenol groups on the surface of the festivals, and then APTS to activate the linking molecule on the OH, and then it will be again it is activated by the glycerol ligate. After that, the chitosan will be added to the selenol group. At the last image you can see. So the drug, how the drug have been added or accommodated into the festival, you can see in this graphical illustration. So this is glycerol and this is APTS and chitosan, and doxorubicin is here. You can see this is chitosan and this is APTS and glycerol on the surface, and the dox will be attached to these kind of reservoirs you can see here. And these are all the biocompatibility tests I have done with these both unmodified and modified items. So this is the protocol I have used to accommodate the drug into the diatom festivals, and cytotoxic assay to prove the biocompatibility of the festivals and both the drug, and dual staining for the with the anti-cancer for the anti-cancer activity, and also with the apoptosis induction for the lung cancer cell lines. So these are all the this is the procedure I have followed for the dual staining. The results: screening of functional material based on the surface charges. So based on the surface charges, firstly you have notified the gelatin material is modified festivals plus microvolt. We have to achieve the positive charges on the festival. So because the doxorubicin is in the negative charges, so we have to modify the festivals with the positive charge. Comparatively, the chitosan modified item with the plus 32 microvolt charges it gives. Here you can see the last image. So with the IR spectra, the amine groups will be modified on the festivals. Here you can see the selenol group and also amine group with the chitosan. So this is FESM, TEM and EDS analysis of a modified item. Here you can see the blurred image. It will be the successful modification of chitosan on the festivals. You can see with these images, and also the amine group are present on the festivals EDS, and in the TEM images you can see the chitosan materials, and it will not move. The word is the modified, the chitosan modified on the surface of diatoms. You can see over the surface of festivals. So the drug encapsulation efficiency of diatom will be established with this graph. And the standard calibration curve have been established with DAX to determine encapsulation efficiency with this formula y is equal to mx plus c, where m is a slope and c is an intercept. and the values are given here. The encapsulation efficiency of drag in the percentage will be calculated as initial amount of drag minus final amount of drag divided by initial amount of drag into 100. So overall, by the encapsulation efficiency of drag has been calculated by the OD value of remaining supernatant in the drag. The encapsulation efficiency of the drag has been achieved at 89% is the highest maximum encapsulation efficiency I have achieved by this procedure. So this is the spectra of doxorubicin, and this is the IR spectra for dox-loaded chitosan grafted diatom festivals. You can see each and every responsible spectra and bonds are over here, and this is for chitos. Sorry, not it is not for chitosan. It is for diatom festivals, and this is for doxorubicin, and also the chitosan modification by amine group. You can see over here. So fluorescent evaluation and confirmation of drag loading. It is this tube you can see. It is loaded with doxorubicin, and it is unloaded festivals you can see, and this is FITC labeled diatoms, and this is dox labeled dox loaded diatoms. You can see the dox loaded FITC labeled drag. As usually doxorubicin has a self fluorescent, so the doxorubicin inside the drags, inside the festival you can see here, and this is without fluorescence of doxorubicin you can see. So in vitro cytotoxicity assay, with this I have chosen lung cancer cell line CA549, which is incubated for 24 hours, and then the control, the positive control, and the doxorubicin is a negative control, and the modified dox and modified diatom plus dox and diatom festivals alone and chitosan. You can see the doxorubicin gives you the less compatibility than the doxorubicin festivals coated with chitosan coated with doxorubicin loaded drag. So the percentage of incubation, I mean the minimum incubatory concentration of the drag can be calculated by this formula. So summary and conclusion of my work is the diatom sample was isolated and morphologically identified as Amphora subtropica, and I have deposited the deposited my oligonucleotides in the gen bank, and then I got the accession number here you can see, and the optimum parameters I have got 23 degrees Celsius temperature, 30 PSU, and 88.0 pH, and 300 lax, and tumoral medium is a good parameters to culture and obtain good moss for the festivals. And diatom Amphora subtropica is well known. It's my microporous cell wall and composed of silica for various biomedical applications, as I told, SiO2, and linear elliptical with the tourniquet ends, and the festival's morphology will be like this, and the margin, the stripe ventral margin also here, and 15 to 18 millimeter micrometer long for this pennate diatom, and 5 to 7 micrometer wide as we have calculated by the same micro image. And the drag doxorubicin have been successfully loaded into the nanoporous festivals, and it have evaluated through the various characterization tool as I've shown you, and it will achieve 89% of encapsulation efficiency when we are loading the drag, and it will be completely biocompatible when compared to the doxorubicin alone, and also it is hemocompatible, as I have I haven't mentioned here, but I have studied with the chemocompatible with the doxorubicin loaded chitosan modified drugs. So this is my conclusion.
Okay.
If you have any doubts, you can ask me, and I'm ready to clarify you. Because I have put so many slides, so I just run through my slides.
Okay, no, but it's okay. Thank you very much, Professor Rajendran, for sharing with us your research developing CAPES PrInt project.
Thank you. And I would like to thank Professor Maria Hosa to giving me this wonderful chance to present my work in the session. Thank you, Maria. Thank you.
Ok, então agora continuamos com a professora Patrícia Bernardo, de Portugal. Então você tem até 30 minutos para sua palestra Nitrosamines in Meat Products, Occurrence and Mitigation Strategies. Você pode ficar à vontade, professora Patrícia, se preferir conduzir a sua fala em língua portuguesa ou língua inglesa. E lembro só de, pedimos que comece a sua apresentação com a sua apresentação profissional ao público, por gentileza.
Okay, let me just check if I can put here the presentation. Well, I'm trying to maximize this. Do you know how to do it?
Como estávamos, acho que orientando nas outras palestras ali, acho que primeiro a gente habilita a tela cheia e depois a gente vem para o compartilhamento aqui no Meet.
Ok, isso foi o que eu tentei fazer, mas não estou aqui a conseguir. Deixa-me experimentar assim.
Ok.
Estão a ver?
Está carregando. Eu vejo a tela do Google Meet, não a sua apresentação.
Ok. E assim...
Vemos a tela da apresentação, mas
não
está em tela.
Não está, sim, estou a perceber. Alguém me pode ajudar?
Não podemos ver assim mesmo? Não consegue passar, Patrícia?
Consigo passar, não é tão engraçado. Deixa-me experimentar aqui de outra forma. Assim, está melhor?
Sim. Assim vemos em tela cheia.
Deixa-me só ver aqui como é que eu passo. Mas eu não consigo controlar. Mas eu posso abrir aqui, está tudo ok. Ok.
Sim, aí está.
Well, thank you for all the support. Let's go. Hello everyone and boa tarde Brazil. So my name is Patricia and I am a PhD student at the University of Lisbon in the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine. And it is a pleasure for me to be here today to present a part of my PhD research. The title for today is Nitrosamines and Occurrence and Mitigation Strategies. So today we will address some aspects related to nitrosamines, and I will begin by explaining why are we here today talking about nitrosamines. Then I will relate the nitrosamines specifically with the meat products, and then we'll talk about the alternatives that researchers are trying to take to mitigate this problem. In the final, I will also present to you our strategy and our approach to also mitigate this problem. Finally, I'll show our results and add some final considerations regarding nitrosamines and meat products. First, I would like to start with two questions. So, why are we suddenly interested in nitrosamines, and when did this interest begin? So, in 2015, the International Agency for Research on Cancer, the IARC, announced that the processed meat was classified as carcinogenic to humans, meaning that it is in group 1. So this was based on sufficient evidence in humans that the consumption of processed meat causes colorectal cancer. Moreover, it was also concluded that if we eat only 50 grams of processed meat daily, we increase the risk of colorectal cancer by 18%. And the first thing that I thought, it was like, am I in danger? And what is processed meat? Here at your left, you can see, can you see my mouse? I will take that you can. So processed meat refers to meat that is being transformed through salting, curing, fermentation, smoking, and here is when it gets interesting. Other processes to enhance flavor or improve preservation. So when we add fat and salt to minced meat, obviously we have a burger, but according to the IARC working group, this burger is in this processed meat category, and we have in the same category of processed meat, we have burger and, for example, bacon. We will talk more about this definition later, but now I would like you to remember, and if you don't remember, you can imagine, how was this information passed to the general consumers, or how did media react to this information? So I can help you to visualize it. Here we have the headlines of the world news. They are all from 2015. And as you can imagine, this kind of news had a really negative impact in the meat industry. As we know, hazard identification is very different from risk assessment, but consumers don't know this difference. So when consumers saw news is putting bacon alongside with cigarettes or even arsenic, they thought that these compounds were equally harmful to their health. And we know that the probability of developing cancer by consuming meat products is very much lower than the probability of developing cancer if we smoke or even if we have some kind of arsenic exposure. Continuing, in 2018, IARC released this monograph that had more information about the topic, and we then knew that the classification was based on 3 groups of carcinogenic chemicals, and they were the heterocyclic aromatic amines, the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and the N-nitroso compounds, where we can find the nitrosamines that will be our focus for today. Let's relate the nitrosamines specifically with meat products. So nitrosamines are chemical compounds that are generated when nitrosable agents, like nitrites, react with nitrosatable amines. In this case, there are mainly secondary amines. According to their structure, they can be cyclic, as you can see here on the right, or acyclic here at the left. And nitrosamines can also be divided into volatile and non-volatile nitrosamines, being the volatiles the ones that have high carcinogenic potential. Here, in this figure, it's a part of a really good review from Xie et al., and it clearly demonstrates the link between several diseases and nitrosamines. Besides, within the nitrosamines that are typically found or most associated to meat products, we have these here above, and I would like to highlight here the nitrosodimethylamine, NDMA, and the nitrosodiethylamine, the NDEA, because they are considered as possibly carcinogenic to humans since 1978. So up until now, we know that for us to have a nitrosamine formation, we need to have both nitrites and secondary amines. It means that they are the precursors. And I would like to talk a bit more about this, because obviously nitrites are additives, but they are specifically curing salts, which means that they will be present in the formulation of cured meat products. And then when we look at secondary amines, we know that they are products of amino acid decarboxylation. And for that to happen, we have to have some kind of bacteria that does this decarboxylation, such as lactic acid bacteria or enterococci, for example. And these are bacteria that are commonly found in fermented products. So in order to have the precursors, the theories say that we have to have a cured fermented meat product. But this is not enough. We also have to have a pH that is sufficiently low. Although we have to have precursors, they need to be in high abundance, and even temperature can influence the nitrosamine formation. And in this case, the formation is potentiated by temperatures higher than 130 degrees Celsius. So back to the definition, we can now understand that not all processed meat will fit all of these criteria, and it will depend on formulations, processing conditions, and even the cooking method that the consumer do in their home. And again, I would like to say that an hamburger is very different from a bacon, and even within the bacon, we cannot say that a raw bacon, it will be the same than a fried bacon, for example. I guess that to better understand this, I brought you here kind of a case study. Well, I picked one meat product, in this case, cured meat sausages, and here you have results of the determination of nitrosamines in these products around the world. If we first look at China, we can see that two different research groups presented very different results for cured meat sausages. The first research group here had 0.8 micrograms per kilogram of NDMA, and the second research group for another cured meat sausage for the same nitrosamine presented a value of 2.4. And then if you look even for nitrosopyrrolidine, we have in the first group 3.5 micrograms per kilogram, and the second group didn't even detected this nitrosamine. But we can think, because there are different research groups, that these differences might be associated to different methodologies. However, if we look around the world to the other countries, we here have studies in the same country for the same research group, meaning they utilize the same method, and we also see that there are very high differences within the products. So if we look at Spain, here we have in a study from Campillo et al., they found 3.6 micrograms per kilogram of NDEA in one cured meat sausage, and in the other they didn't find this nitrosamine. And the same goes to NDBA. When I say with this, I would like to say that this can only explain the heterogeneity that we have in meat products. Here in the square I have Portugal. For those of you who don't know where Portugal is, we are this tiny country here, really next to Spain, and we have more than 50 different meat sausages. And even those 50 can be produced under different conditions. I mean, with or without nitrite, or with or without heat treatment, that will affect not only the presence, but the amount of the secondary amines. Now, I would like to make the exercise of imagine how many meat products there is in your country and how many meat products there is in this world. When we look to regulation, we also have variability, so we found differences in the criteria of which nitrosamines should be analyzed and which products should be analyzed. And then we have the variability of the allowed limit values. Here, you can see in Estonia, they allow 2 micrograms per kilogram of the sum of NDMA and NDEA. But if we go to Chile, they allow 30 micrograms per kilogram only of the NDMA. There is really a lot of variability. And maybe because of that, and despite the efforts of the European Food Safety Authority on gathering lots of information regarding nitrosamines, up until today, we still don't have regulation for nitrosamine content in foodstuffs in the European Union. Passing to mitigation strategies. And why do we need mitigation strategies? We need to solve this problem. And one thing we know, and I think consumers already know the same thing, is that nitrite, when it's present in the meat products, can generate nitrosamines, and nitrosamines are carcinogenic. So that is the motive why most mitigation strategies are somehow related to this additive. A few years ago, we did this review work on finding several mitigation strategies, mostly related with vegetable extracts. And we found that one alternative was the simple reduction or elimination of nitrates and nitrites in meat products. and then there was a combined approach that includes the use of nitrate-rich plant extracts combined with microbial cultures that can reduce nitrate to nitrite. And why is this combined approach important? Why do we have to use these starters? Because when we talk about nitrate, it does not have any technological functions. So for us to have the technological functions, we have to reduce nitrate to nitrate, and that is the role of the starters. Well, I already said that nitrite has several technological features, and because of that, it is not an easy task to substitute or eliminate or even replace nitrite in meat products. The first characteristic is that nitrite is antimicrobial, and I guess up until today, it is a really good and effective way to control pathogens like Clostridium botulinum or even Listeria monocytogenes. And especially if we think in a large caliber meat product, because those products cannot achieve the water activity and pH that are considered safe in a short amount of time. And the second feature is the formation and stabilization of the characteristic cured color because of the formation of nitrosomyoglobin and nitrosohemochrome. To put this in another words for everybody to understand, it is because of nitrite that the bacon that we eat is pink and it is not like an undesirable grayish. Other features are the developing of the cured flavor and aroma, and nitrite is also antioxidant. Now I'm going to present our strategy. So our aim was to develop a viable alternative for replace nitrite in meat products, and for that we try to use naturally sourced nitrite. To develop this product, we have to make sure what were the implications in terms of physical, chemical, microbiological, and sensory characteristics. Our model is right here. We use the dry cured meat product, and some of you might recognize as chouriço, and chouriço is a very typical and beloved Portuguese product. In terms of alternatives, our approach was to use Salvia elegans, that is commonly known as sage, and Timochi triodorus, thyme. We use the infusions of these herbs and we combine them with Staphylococcus equorum starter. Here we have our experimental design. So we did a factorial of 2 times 4. we had the control sausages, then sausages formulated with 150 milligrams per kilogram of nitrate, and then sausages with sage infusion and thyme infusion. And for all of these sausages, we produced ones with the starter of Staphylococcus equorum and others without. And I'm not going into every detail of the preparation of the cured meat sausages, but I would like to say that the sausages were produced by us in our pilot plant in the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine. And these sausages, they were cold smoked at 25 degrees Celsius. They were cured for 12 days, and then they were vacuum packed and stored at 5 degrees Celsius. The whole experimental design was repeated in 3 different work days. Regarding the analysis, we conducted several physical, chemical, and microbiological analyses, and we did it not only during the processing steps, but also in the final product and during storage. And because we are trying to develop a product, it is very important to know the opinion of the consumers about this product. So we did sensory analysis in our final products. First, we did a focus group to generate vocabulary regarding the sausages. And then we did a consumer test with 111 participants, 65% women, and from 18 to 85 years old. With these participants, we did first an overall appreciation of the sausages, a yes or no question about the intention of buying and consume the products, and we also did a check all that apply test that I will explain better in the next slides. And here we have our sausages. First, and in terms of general characterization, we found that there was no differences between formulations regarding water activity, pH, and even the percentage of sodium chloride. And in this case, we had water activity of 0.94, a pH of 5.8, and sodium chloride content varying between 2.45 and 2.41. Now, from a microbiological standpoint, we first saw an increase in the technological lactic acid bacteria, and because of the competition effect, it was reflected in a decrease in enterobacteria, especially here from the final product until the day 60. Also, the enterobacteria counts were satisfactory in this product. Regarding the control of starter, we observed that all of the inoculated samples presented coagulase negative staphylococci counts above the 7 logarithms, which was expected. And now we are going to pass to the results of residual nitrate and nitrite that were very interesting. So, as you can see, I know that is a lot of numbers, but focus here in the first table. The formulas F3, F4, F5, and F6 were the sausages formulated with the herb infusions, and they presented really low residual nitrate, mainly when compared with the sausages formulated with the real additive nitrate. Even the role of Staphylococcus equorum is here really well explained, because F1 sausages without Staphylococcus equorum add more residual nitrate than F2 sausages. When we look at the results of nitrites, we can see that for all formulations and times of analysis, the residual nitrite was low every time. Now passing to the T-bars values that here represent the lipid oxidation, we can see that first, the effect of formulation or treatment was really significant for these T-bars values, despite the use of a starter of Staphylococcus equorum. In this case, you can see that sausages formulated with sage and thyme right here had less MDA than sausages formulated with control or even with nitrate. And this might be explained by the antioxidant properties of the infusions, and we actually checked the total phenolic compounds of the infusions and verified that they have high amounts of these compounds. The results of color measurement were very encouraging, and I say encouraging because when we are trying to substitute nitrite, one of the main difficulties is to achieve that cured color. And here we can look at this color by the parameter A that represents the reds. And first we can see that the use of Staphylococcus equorum resulted in redder sausages, which is good. And we also can see regarding the infusions that F6 sausages, the ones formulated with time infusion and starter of Staphylococcus equorum, were also redder and were similar to those with nitrate and Staphylococcus equorum. But as we are used to say, a picture worth more than 1,000 words, so better than the A value is your eyes. So you can see here the F6 sausages, the ones with infusion of time and starter, were really red and were similar to F2 formulas with nitrite and Staphylococcus equorum. Passing to the sensory analysis, the focus group generated 29 attributes that were related with color, odor, and taste of the sausages. And we first did a previous analysis and removed consumers and attributes with low frequency of responses. So we ended with this new total of 87 consumers and 17 attributes. And here I would like to highlight that the odor of herbal and the odor of aromatic herbs were excluded because of low frequency of appointment. And this is good because this could be a depreciative attribute related to the use of aromatic herbs infusions. Also, the taste and odor of rancid, that is depreciating all meat products, was also removed in our tests. Here we have the multifactorial, excuse me, the multifactorial analysis. I'm not going to be extensive for the sake of time, but we can see first here in the F1 axis that explains almost 60% of the model, we have a clear separation at the right of the sausages formulated with both nitrate or the controls. And at the left, we have sausages formulated with aromatic herb infusion. Here we can see that sausages with nitrate are more related with the characteristics odors and tastes, or even cured. And at the left, and here mainly the sausages produced with time infusion and sage infusion with staphylococci were depreciated by these two significant attributes that were the odor of hay and the color brownish. But if we look at the F2 axis that separates the bottom from the upper part, we can see that sausages formulated with infusion of thyme and staphylococci were related with the ones formulated with nitrite and even with control with staphylococci. In this case, the significant attributes were positive and relate all of these sausages. And the attributes were dark red, the color, and the color of cured. And if you remember when I told you about the objective color measurement, these results are quite similar with the ones that I already presented. Here we have the results of our sensory analysis regarding the overall appreciation and willingness to consume and purchase. I would only like to say that the sausages formulated with time infusion exclusively were the only ones that were depreciated, if we compare to control, for example. But nevertheless, All of our sausages were classified above the middle of the 9-point hedonic scale, meaning they have more than 5 points. And passing to final considerations. What have we learned from this study? We learned that sausages with thyme and staphylococcus really showed low levels of residual nitrate and nitrite. They also obtained the desirable red cured color and were well appreciated by consumers. And second, we also learned that sausages formulated with both sage infusion or thyme infusion effectively delayed lipid oxidation. So the results of this study indicate that the use of Thymocytriodorus and Staphylococcus equorum might be a solution to replace nitrite additive in meat products, but I would like to finish my presentation saying that it is a solution for this specific meat product. As we know from this presentation, it would be very important to create groups of meat products regarding their formulations, their processing conditions, and even their intended use. And only then we will be able to study the real risk of nitrosamines in every group of meat products. Finally, I would like to express my gratitude to my supervisors and our research team, to the Portuguese Research Foundation for supporting my scholarship, and to the organization for this opportunity to share my work. And thank you all for listening to my presentation. Muito obrigada.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation, Patrícia.
Thank you.
Daremos continuidade, então, agora com a fala da professora Maria Manuela Lopes, também de Portugal. Muito bom reencontrá-la aqui, professora Manuela. Você tem também... Olá. Você também tem em torno de 30 minutos para a sua palestra, Drawing Research, Connecting Divergent Areas of Knowledge. E também só pedimos que comece com a sua apresentação profissional ao público, por gentileza.
Sim, senhora.
Vou aproveitar aqui também, Maria Manuela, cumprimentar você. Ontem eu acabei não falando sobre a tua vinda para o Brasil, né, dentro dos feitos do CAPES PrInt, conversando depois com o Fernando, a gente lembrou disso, né, essa importante parceria, pensando no caráter transdisciplinar das artes, junto com a ciência e com a tecnologia. Seja muito bem-vinda. Um abraço.
Um abraço. Desculpem, estão me ouvindo?
Sim, te ouvimos bem.
E também estão vendo a apresentação em grande?
Não, a apresentação ainda não entrou no Meet.
Okay. Então eu tenho que fazer qualquer coisa aqui, que era o que eu já pensava que ia acontecer. Espera aí. Eu vou fazer o end slideshow. Acho que vou ter o mesmo problema que teve a nossa colega anterior, que é, eu tenho que fazer primeiro share e depois pôr em grande, não é? Ou não?
Acho que é o contrário, tem funcionado melhor. Primeiro colocar em tela grande e depois compartilhar pelo Meet.
Só que se eu puser em slideshow, eu deixo de ver o Meet e não consigo...
Acho que eu consigo ajudar. O que eu acho que resultou, eu não tenho bem a certeza, foi fazer primeiro a partilha da janela e depois mexe na sua janela normal do computador.
Vamos lá. I would like to record this computer screen and audio. Deny, eu não quero gravar nada. E o que eu quero partilhar é o Microsoft PowerPoint. Share. Can't share your screen. Ok. Agora diz que não admite partilha. Isso é pior um pouco. Vamos partilhar o ecrã inteiro. A ver o que dá. Eu tenho dois monitores. Se calhar vai dar asneira por causa disso, não é?
Não sei, quando carrega na setinha do share, depois lá em cima tem a opção de apresentar o separador, que é a segunda. Tem o browser e tem o separador.
Espera aí. System Audio. Pois. Isso não devia acontecer, mas está acontecendo. Está dizendo que não, que o meu sistema não permite. Deixa ver. Vou fazer aqui uma variação no sistema. To be always a concord. Later. Ok, deixa eu ver se eu consigo partilhar. Se calhar vou ter que fazer ao contrário, vou ter que mandar a apresentação para algum de vocês, ou deixa eu ver se assim já dá. Share. Brasil. Can't share your screen. Google Chrome might not have screen recording permission on your computer. Se eu sair e voltar a entrar no mesmo link que vocês mandaram, se calhar...
Sim, tem que aceitar as permissões.
Então eu vou sair e vou voltar a clicar no link que você enviou, tá bom, Fernando?
Pode ser. Uhum. Te aguardamos.
Até já. Desculpem, eu depois faço em 20 minutos, não preciso dos 30. Ok. Vamos experimentar então agora. Eu não disse que não a nada, só entrei. Presente now. Windows, só tenho isso aberto.
Já conseguimos ver sua tela de PowerPoint.
Ok. E agora?
Sim, está em tela cheia.
Fantástico. Então agora, sim, boa tarde. Eu sou Maria Manuela Lopes, sou portuguesa, professora e possivelmente sou artista plástica, investigadora e possivelmente vou falar inglês porque já percebi que a maior parte dos oradores falam inglês, não é? So from now on I will speak in English and please Fernando, would you check on time just so I can have a fluid train of thought?
Ok.
Okay, 20 minutes should do. I think it's presentations are very long and it's very difficult to follow the presentation. So my presentation luckily will be mostly visual. So I think it would be easier for others as I'm the visual artist apparently presenting this afternoon. So I need to thank Maria Rosa, Nara Santos, Fernando Codevilla for the wonderful partnership and invitation to present today, and also the partnership with Labart and through CAPES PrInt that allowed me actually to be in Brazil for a while and to have Fernando Codevilla in Portugal with us. I work at Escola Superior de Educação in the Polytech Institute of Porto, and I'm a researcher at the other institutes that you can see on the right. That's why you have the logos there. I will talk mainly about 3 projects that were based on drawing research, but they were all dealing with other areas of scientific research, and that's why I brought them today. First one is Ancestry Traveler, and within this project, I start by bringing this Roman myth of the lover who draws the silhouette of the other lover. So the girl that draws the silhouette of the lover that is going away, in order to keep his memory through drawing, she would keep her presence. And I think it's really a beautiful metaphor to start a conversation on the powers of drawing. Second image, I would like to bring Janus, the Roman god, again, something from material culture, but also as a metaphor for beginning and ending. Usually Janus is a double-faced god, so usually is referred to when people want to say there's two sides of every coin. But actually my understanding of Janus, it's that it really encloses this ambiguity of the present moment, not just like the beginning and the ending of something, or the two faces of something, but all the in-betweens, all the gray areas, all the juxtapositions, because it's one God, right? So to me, it's a bit the power that drawing has, which is the bridging knowledge between areas, because as you will see throughout this project, we will find drawing in many different instances and with different functions. And I think it will just come through how powerful it really can be. So the first project that I would like to bring is a project that is actually a genetics. It's an genetic heritage project, and it's a scientific project. It's called Ancestry Traveler. And it was an FCT funded project in IBMC, in I3S, in the Institute of Research and Innovation in Health in Porto. And what my participation was in the project, of course, was based on the Fernando Magalhães, the Magellan circumnavigation trip, and it was on the celebration of the 100th anniversary that this project started. And the idea was to map the genome of people that were in contact with Fernando Magalhães throughout the world. The participation of artists was through a call for participation in workshops on genetics and identity. And the artistic jury is there, mentioned Filipe Cabal, myself, Filipe Oliveira, Mário Bismarck, and then some other scientific colleagues from science. And the idea was that the artists would have their genome tested there. So they would do an ancestry a genomic ancestry exercise or test with the group that was studying genetics, and then they would try to understand what that would make to them in terms of their own practices. So they were challenged in this confrontation with what it means for them to have these all that discovery within their own genomes. And then they would reflect through their work to that experience. It came out as a two-part exhibition. Well, the first part of the exhibition is what you can see in the image right now. It was in I3S. And this room, it's room number 1. If you see, there's only people from science here, although there are a few designers who helped conceive the books. The books actually have the genome sequence, the reference genome sequenced, and then behind those girls you would see a map, a 3D map of the travels of Fernando Magalhães and how the genome went from one country to another, and also other 3D explorations of the genomic difference between species on Earth at the moment, etc. And the genomic diversity also, where the photo was taken behind me, there were some other sculptures. But what was the artistic response is what we could see in this other room. And then you would have works from Inês Moura, Carolina Zenix, Kathleen Borges, Luísa Passos, Márcio Carvalho, Maria de Castro, Marta Vengrovius, Mike Croft, Paulo de Rocha Nunes, Pete Thomas, and Sally Santiago. And all of them saw this experience of having their own genome, part of their genome sequence and part of their ancestry studied to act on that. And some of them, like Sally Santiago, which is the work that you can see here on this table, she's Brazilian and she lived most of her life in Brazil, but she has relatives from different parts of the world. And so she drew maps, but the maps that she drew were actually drawn by sun. And then the engravings that she did stitching on banana leaves as part of something that she culturally learned from her family, like from her grandmother, but also in response to the idea of the type of drawing that she also found in the laboratories. Other works, like the one in blue stripes that you can see on the left photo, it's from a Portuguese girl. It's Inês Moura, but she lived for 12 years in Brazil, and so I think she never questioned her identity prior to this project, and then suddenly in this project she was confronted with this genome and the letters of a genome and the specificities of the eye colors and hair color, etc. And she was thinking, although that would be almost like a letter explaining who she was, she could not figure herself without the idea of the sea, because when she was in Brazil, she felt a lot that she was Portuguese. And when she's in Portugal, she feels a lot that she's Brazilian now, because she's lived in Brazil for quite a while. So I think she said that only like a sea, like a navigation letter would really have something to do with her identity, would be able to describe her. So you see Mike Croft's drawings on the wall over there, all these drawings that are made in brown. Mike is English, but he has lived most of his life in Thailand. And so he actually conceived a first part of the work that you see in the little drawings on the left, based on a metaphorical and fictional family story that he thought he would have from his ancestors coming from Africa, and then expanding throughout the world. And then on the right, you see maps, the big paintings and the other drawings, and those are actually the result of his own mapping of his ancestry. And so he mixed the fictional with the scientific facts and with an idea of trading within the world. So he used coffee to paint, and the export and the commerce on coffee as a metaphor for this idea of exchanging something. Instead of exchanging genomic information, exchanging coffee and having, like our minds altered by that. Then you have other works that you can see that, but I will not have time to explain them in detail. There's a catalog of this exhibition. You just see like very different, Luisa Paz, for instance, has these pencil drawings of roots. She did not go into images that belong to science in terms of neurosciences or microbiology, but she really reported her metaphors to the natural world, to this idea that roots are like genomes, something that are connecting all of us, but outside of surface. So basically that was her metaphor. I'll just move on. This is Kathleen Rogers, Márcio Carvalho. This is Pete Thomas. And you can see that people approached it very differently. Then after the exhibition in I3S in Porto, the exhibition went to the Museum of Natural History and History of Science in Lisbon. And again, we had to install in a smaller room, and we had a very good reception, but a different context, not a research context, but a museum context. So the readings, of course, were different from the curators in the museum, and that was adding up to our possibility of understanding drawing as a strength. This is another project that me, as part of the Escola Superior de Educação of Porto Polytech, was working with other colleagues from these other institutions to try to grasp what identity could be for youth in those colleges, in those higher education institutions. We gave them 4 different thematic areas that they could work about. Each institution decided to do a different length. So some institutions that just did like 2 days workshops, with 1 day addressing the idea of body and the other day addressing the idea of space. Other institutions worked for a whole semester, and other institutions just allowed the students to choose 1 or 2 of those themes and try to have them draw about themselves, but through this reflection of self and its image, the space, identity in space, temporality, or community. In my institution, we allowed the students to choose 1 or 2 of those thematic areas, and I'm bringing just some of their results. We have a student here that was working on both bodies and temporality, so she was superimposing the drawings, the portraits of her family. And this other student was addressing bodies and space, so she did a lot of drawings on an imaginative and a fictional space within the uterus, and she was addressing her own self as a feminine body. And here we have another student, which is Cesar Bessa, and he was addressing space and temporality. Cesar was and is actually a dancer, more than a visual artist. He just entered art school. I worked with the first-year students, so he was a dancer and actually a champion in European dance for 3 years. And he didn't know how to use the techniques of drawing, so I convinced him to draw while dancing. And so this is what you can see, his feet and his hand all mapped throughout different papers that he then had to cut into the dimensions that were allowed for the presentation. Barbara addressed the idea of community and temporality, and so she shows pictures and drawings from different, she's a mature student, so she relates to collage and to non-digital media more than younger students. And then we did an exhibition of their drawings in the cultural center of the Polytech Institute, which is a whole building. And so we mixed the drawings, and then we had a conversation with invited guests on the power of drawing to uncover sometimes what is not in the drawing, but what it is missing in the drawing. Then the last of the 3 projects that I wanted to address is this Drawing You, which is also an FCT-funded project that is drawing across university borders. This is a project from I2ADS, the institute, the research institute of the Faculty of Fine Arts in Porto. But because I'm a researcher at the Institute of Research and Innovation in Health, I3S, I was supposed to gather the drawings that I could find from neuroscientists in I3S. And so the questions of the project, the questions that the project works around are these. How do drawing activities in higher education mimic the epistemic ways of thinking of STEM professionals? So usually drawing is considered a tool and a technique, technology, a project medium in fine arts, and but it's not really in the other STEM areas. It sometimes is almost invisible. Then we are trying to uncover also which learning processes could be fostered by drawing activities to enhance the understanding of visual, spatial, and temporal content in STEM areas. And we did that by providing workshops in each university or research institutes of the University of Porto, and then what methods of visualization and embodied knowing through drawing can be developed within the arts-based research framework. What I could gather in I should say it was not easy to start, because most scientists, when I addressed them and asking for drawings, most of them would reply instantly, like, we don't draw, or I don't draw, or I have no drawings in my lab book, or in my lab. You can come, but you won't find any drawings. And then we had these conversations on how, like, open field results that you could see here on the left are drawings. They are just either diagrammatic or made by machines, contrary to these other arrows and sometimes simplified version of tools or animals in this case, that are drawings that usually are made just to help scientists or researchers think about what they are doing, or sometimes memorize something. Usually when they are in class, and if they are students, we don't have BA students in I3S, but we have some masters, and we have many PhD researchers that are still students. They of course do draw when they have classes or lab meetings, but they are not even acknowledging their drawing. Some of them, they just do diagrammatic or ideogrammatic kind of drawing. And this was the kind of sensitivity that we were trying to raise in them. We did an exhibition that is called Drawing Between the Frontiers at the university. It was at the Museum Sociais. And this was one of the walls of the drawings. This is the montage, not the final. There were no tapes there at the end, but this was the montage of the drawings that I brought from neuroscience. And I also brought some videos that had these, you could see these colors coming in that were making different patterns, and they were just there, of course, for functional purpose. They were there to highlight certain aspects of what was seen. I think it's spinal cord research at the bottom, and at the top it's a research on drugs and additive addiction. Within this project, I conceived a workshop that is also an artistic project of mine. So I called it Drawing the Genome. Is based on actually what happened to me in the first project, in Ancestry Traveler, because I was a subject of study of the project. I was a volunteer from the beginning, and my genome was mapped and sequenced. Then I decided that I had to do something with it, but I had to do something that made other people think with me through drawing, possibly. So I took Morgan O'Hara, that is the artist here in the center, as an inspiration, and she has these workshops that she calls Handwriting the Constitution, where she gathers people around tables, and she has people coping with their own handwriting parts of the Constitution. She's American, so usually she started this in the US. And there are some images here of the workshops happening in public spaces. and people sign a contract that they will copy with accuracy and rigor. And then these are kind of some kind of results of what happens in these workshops. And the type of images that I'm providing my people are these kind of images and these kind of images. So you can see how devoted the participants need to be, that they are able to decide they will stay for 1 or 2 hours just copying these 4, if lucky, 5 letters of the genome. That you can see is many books, as you saw in the picture of the first exhibition.
Manuela, desculpe interromper, nós estamos em 20 minutos, mas pode continuar até...
22, according to my to my screen. I didn't notice there was time here, but this is my last slide, actually. This is just a slide to show that when I was in Brazil working with the students, and we wanted to think about their own research, we also used drawing, as you can see there, and I put a CAPES PrInt sign logo there. We also used drawing as a medium to think through what we were trying to talk about. So for me, I'll just end sharing if I can find where. Let me see, end show here. And then stop sharing here so you can see me. Okay, here I am. And for me, I just think I'll leave it here with these lots of visual that I brought. And of course, I'm open to questions if there are any, or just to any comment, or to have an impact that will come to surface one day, maybe when you see something else and you think that artists are also interested in what other areas of science and research are doing, and that for us, we consider drawing and other art mediums as powerful forms of juxtaposition, and drawing itself is an inscription, and so it relates a lot to the ideas of Bruno Latour, of course, in the way science functions as an inscriptive practice that allows a lot of superimpositions and transparencies that when allows other things, that allows contrast and comparison. And so that's it, basically. Thank you.
Ótimo, muito obrigado, Manuela. A gente teve, né, uma tarde, um mergulho bastante profundo na ciência, e é interessante de ter também agora essa perspectiva, né, dessa relação transdisciplinar, como a gente comenta, né, em relação a arte, ciência e tecnologia. Então, agradeço, né, pela fala, e agradeço mais uma vez também, né, aproveitar publicamente aqui pela recepção, né, excelente recepção que eu tive no Porto, ali na Escola Superior de Educação. Então, muito obrigado, né, a ti também.
Tá fazendo falta, vê se volta.
Sim, tentarei em breve. Então, muito obrigado a ti e também a professora Maria Rosa, né, pela oportunidade que eu tive a partir do projeto CAPES PrInt. Então, passo a palavra agora ao Raul.
Certo, Fernando. Bom, chegamos ao final do segundo dia do Sinergia, Ciência, Educação, Arte. Lembramos ao público participante que se inscreveu que é imprescindível realizar o preenchimento do formulário de confirmação de presença aqui no chat do YouTube. Agradecemos aos conferencistas, palestrantes, equipe Labart, ao público que nos acompanhou nessa tarde aqui no YouTube. Lembramos também que a exposição Sinergia segue na sala Cláudio Carriconde até amanhã, no Centro de Artes e Letras, prédio 40 da UFSM. Encerrando transmissão. Ok, estamos fora do ar.
Certo. Obrigado, Raul.